A sold-out Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida on a steamy October afternoon. It's more than just a football game. It's a rivalry with national championship implications. The top-ranked team in the land on their home turf against the 12th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State. Obviously, the partisan crowd is wearing green and orange. And in South Florida, they are ready to see if their Hurricanes can repeat as national champions. They've won 27 in a row. Last year, they ran the table. They hope that they can do it again. Hi again, everybody. Brad Netzler and Bob Greasy. Welcome to Miami. You know, it's pretty simple. This isn't just a rivalry. It's a lot more than that. And when you talk to the Miami Hurricane players, they say, you know, most of us put those rings away. We're looking for a second one this year. So they're knowing that Florida State is one of the hurdles now, Bob, in a long season that still has some big games left. But they know their arch rival from Tallahassee is the team they have to beat. We're going to see great play in the pits today. We see great running backs, great wide receivers. Let's talk about the quarterbacks, though, because the one that plays best is going to win the football game.
Well, you're right. The defenses have been outstanding, and the running games are very good. But the quarterbacks will determine who wins this ball game. One for Florida State is not playing too well, but he's got too big of ears and his eyes are too big. He shouldn't care what they hear on the radio and what he reads in the newspapers. He shouldn't do that. He needs confidence, he needs patience in the pockets, and he needs to get back into rhythm. No question about it. He needs to play well for Florida State to win.
And last year he didn't play well. Here come the defending national champs. Oh, they've got them stirred up in the Orange Bowl. On the other side of things, you're talking about quarterbacks. You've got a guy that's wondering in Chris Ricks what he can do to get back to where he was at one point last season. On the other side, a Heisman Trophy candidate. You can say what you want about Kenny Dorsey. He's tall, he's skinny, he's not pretty. He's a winner.
Well, he's the smartest quarterback in college football. And why does he win? Because he knows what's going on. He's got confidence. He thinks ahead. He knows exactly what's going on. This is his 33rd start. And one thing about him is he may not look pretty. He may not be a Danny Werfel. He a lot like Danny Werfel. He doesn't look that good. All he does is win.
Win he does. And they're honoring a great former Hurricane quarterback here today in Jim Kelly. And he got a rousing ovation. He's going to see if his team, his alma mater, can beat Florida State when we come back to Miami in a moment.
I'm with the Miami Hurricane head coach Larry Coker. Larry, there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. We know you prepare for that talent and get your own team ready to play. But in a game like today, which is most important?
Well, Lynn, they're both very important, as you know. But I think for us, getting our team prepared and ready to play and try to go to the strength and go into our talent.
Confidence is important in the big ball game.
Very important.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Thanks, man.
Bob Greasy pointed that out early, and confidence is important to both teams. But the Florida State team will be working today without the services of number 55, Eric Moore, defensive end. This morning he had emergency appendectomy. He's in the hospital right now, and he will not be available for Florida State this afternoon.
We don't know if Eric's got a TV on, but we wish him the best. He's probably Florida State's best pass rusher, so they lose that capacity. The series is in its 46th game. The team that scores first has won the last 9 and 14 of the last 15. Tallman Gardner and Leon Washington waiting on the kick from Todd Severs. And it's high and deep, and it's non-returnable. The Noles will have to work from their own 20-yard line. Chris Ricks. There's probably 116 teams in football that would like to have a sophomore quarterback as good as this one.
You got that right.
But as Bob said, he's been maligned even by his own fans, and sometimes your ears and eyes can be too big, and obviously it gets to you at times. He was booed at times the last time he played at home, but he's a heck of a talent, and if he gets in a rhythm, that'll be a key today for Florida State. He'll bring his troops out to the 20-yard line.
Normally, a quarterback for Florida State wouldn't have to be playing as a redshirt sophomore or a freshman. They don't play until they're juniors or seniors.
B.J. Dean and Greg Jones. in the backfield. Jones has been a load lately, and they go to him on the first carry, and he busts it out. First down run and more. Jones down the sideline. What a start for Florida State. He took a whack after a 28-yard gain.
Well, this is what Florida State wants to do, and that is run inside. Run to the left, run inside those defensive ends. They take themselves out of the play automatically, and Greg Jones is huge in this ball game today.
What a way to start for Florida State, all the way out to the 48-yard line.
Running helps the confidence of the quarterback.
Leading rusher in the ACC. High backfield this time. The toss to Jones, going the other way, and another nice game. Vilma brought him down, but he got 5. Let's check the Alamo starting lineups. This is a good offensive line. The big hitters up front, Williams and Williams, Marambo, Holland, and Willis. The wide receivers and running backs, you've seen Jones twice. Dean's the guy that leads the way. Hughes the tight end, and Bolden and Gardner the starting wide receivers. But you'll see Florida State many times in a 3 and sometimes 4 wide out grouping.
Yeah, and it's going to be so important to substitute all of your positions today because of the heat on the field.
One of the best tackles in college football, and they'll play against one of the best defensive ends in college football all day. Second down and 5. Rick's first throw. Single coverage, in and out of the hands. Crefonzo Thorpe should have had it. Kelly Jennings was covering. Defensively for the Hurricanes of Miami, McDougal and Green on the ends. Joseph and Walters inside. Jonathan Vilma's their leading tackler. Williams and Clark will flank him. And the secondary is youthful after all those guys to the NFL last year. Jennings, Taylor, Sykes, and Roll in the secondary for Miami.
Playing behind a great defensive line. McDougal there is one of the best. Everybody talks about the defensive line and McDougal specifically.
I said to you last night, Miami's got the best defensive line in football. Their second defensive line is the second best defensive line in football.
They've got 8 good ones.
Ricks hurried, almost intercepted. Intended for Bolden, and Entrell Roll got a hand in there.
Well, the play before that was key. When they dropped, the receiver dropped the pass from Ricks, that would have gotten them another first down and kept the drive going. You don't want to have to sit back there and throw on passing situations.
So instead of a first down in Miami territory, they're forced to punt it away. Chance Waltney will come in for the kick. And back deep is Ethnic Sands. There's his numbers on the year, almost 14 per return. Wobbly punt. Sands is going to take it on the fly at the 11. Whoa, he turned the wrong way. I think that was Leon Johnson down there that made the hit immediately after a 36-yard punt. So now it's Miami's turn. And there's Kenny Dorsey and his numbers this year. 31-1 as a starter, over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. He's a senior.
Brad, the amazing thing about Dorsey is he's so tall and skinny, but yet he never gets hurt.
Right.
This is his 33rd consecutive start, and he hasn't missed a game because of injury.
We asked him when the last time he was even nicked up. He said that Virginia Tech game you guys did at the end of last season in December, I got banged around a couple times. Normally they don't let anybody touch him. That's how good their offensive line has been. Play action for Dorsey on first down. Zips it, and it's tipped and incomplete. Hudson got a hand on it, the middle linebacker, to break that one up. Alamo starting lineup. Here's the up front group for Miami. Joseph, Haji Razuli back and healthy this year. Romberg's a Remington candidate at center. Myers and Carey round out the front wall. McGahee, one of the top running backs in the country. Quatrin Hill is the fullback. Kellen Winslow, if the name's familiar, it should be. His daddy's a Hall of Famer. And Beard and Johnson, the wideouts. There's Romberg, and he's Kenny Dorsey's roommate. And he's a good one. The leader of that offensive wall.
Dorsey's checking off.
On second down, it's McGahee. And Willis maybe got 2. Not much. Alonzo Jackson made the stop, and defensively for the Noles, it's Emmanuel, Dockett, Johnson, and Alonzo Jackson, their leading sacker. Boulware, Hudson, Kendall Pope, rangy linebackers with a lot of speed. And the secondary, Samuels and Hall, Carter and Brown. The safeties, maybe a little bit of a question mark.
And you thought quarterbacks just checked off the passes, huh?
He checked off to a run.
Checked off to a running play.
There's Darnell Dockett. He's a load inside. Third down and 8. Dorsey, quick slant. Sands has got it. First down and more. Out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Pick up 14 on a 3rd and 8.
No problem for the Hurricanes. Deep in your own territory, you come up with a 3rd and long. Rufus Brown is playing off of Sands. He just runs underneath the 2 other receivers that were lined up on that side and picks up a first down.
You might have seen Ethnic Sands signal for the first down, and the field judge came over to him as he walked to the sideline and said, "I give you that one. Don't do it again."
Yeah.
First down. Canes back to the ground. Again, he's a great cutback runner, but nice pursuit. Florida State hung with it. Jerome Carter came in low, and then he got help from Emmanuel on the defensive line to make the stop. So pickup of only a yard. 2nd down and 9. Sands goes back in there. So does Roscoe Parrish, their newest game breaker.
Lynn Swan mentioned early in the at the opening that Eric Moore, the defensive end, will not be around. That will hurt them in their depth at defensive end. You're going to have to play a lot of players here today.
And we haven't told you, it's 85 right now on its way to 89. McGahee. And if Bob and I looked a little on the sweaty side in the open, trust me, it's the best we could do. We went through every napkin in the booth. It's hot in here. Bob, you were down on the field. It's steaming down there.
Oh, you know, I played in this stadium for 15 years with the Dolphins, and it was just as hot down there now as it was. And we had artificial turf back then.
Even worse.
Oh, yeah, it was just as bad.
Hey, boys, I tried to look really cool in the opening by putting a T-shirt on underneath the short sleeve shirt. It's starting to soak through the T-shirt, and we haven't gotten through the first quarter yet.
That's for sure, Swanee. McGahee's numbers, and he flushes out of the backfield on a 3rd down and 4. Dorsey, quick drop, throws, got it out to Parrish, and a penalty marker. Play clock, I think, expired, and that'll negate a first down. ACC, our officiating crew, led by a referee, Courtney Mawsey.
3rd down. Well, that one's probably on Kenny Dorsey, because the quarterback, as long as he gets the play in enough time, should get him up the line of scrimmage. And he was up there fooling around, looking around. Sometimes early in the ball game, you kind of forget as a quarterback to pick up the 25-second clock.
Right. So it's 3rd down and long now. 3rd and 9. Dorsey fires. What a catch by Johnson. Wow. Just snatched it out of the air in front of Rufus Brown. First down, Kane.
Bob and Brad, we get in ball games and we see talent, and every once in a while we see great plays. There's enough talent on this football field on both sides of the ball, but we'll see plays like that throughout the day. Andre Johnson is one of the best wide receivers in the country, not just in this ball game today.
Well, the NFL come looking for these 2 teams every year when they do their draft.
Johnson's numbers. That first down catch got him out to the 42-yard line. Dorsey on first down. With time. Deep middle. Incomplete. 2 guys in the vicinity. And I'm not sure who that was intended for.
Well, you're right, Brad. There were 2 players there, and I think he was doing it for the wide receiver on the square end.
That was Kevin Beard. He comes out. It'll be 2nd down and 10. We saw Kenny Dorsey patting the helmet of one of the Florida State defensive linemen after he took a hit after releasing the ball. He's talked a lot more to defenders this year. We kidded him about being a 6'5" skinny version of Brett Favre with all that talking. And his teammates say you'd be surprised some of the things that he says. McGahee dropped for a loss. McGahee, one of those guys that told us yesterday, you know, Kenny's a geek, and he'll admit he's a geek, but you wouldn't believe what comes out of his mouth sometimes.
Well, like I say, he's likened to Brett Favre in one way in that he never gets hurt with all the starts that he's come back with. And he is a little more animated. Of course, he's getting hit a little bit more this year. The offensive line not as protecting him as well as that line from last year. But this is a better running offensive line than last.
Gonzalez and McKinney and those guys graduated. This time he's got it to the 40. And it's Beard. Same play they tried earlier. This time nobody else in that territory, and it's a pickup of 22.
Well, Miami offensively is doing damage through the air and not on the ground. This top right of your screen, Dorsey looks to his left, then he comes back to the right, reading all the way across the field. This defense for Florida State is 102nd in the nation versus the pass.
Right.
So they've been giving it up all year.
That's very uncustomary for Florida State to be in that position. And now the Canes with a quadrant over to the right side and
4 wide receivers.
4 wide receivers. Penalty markers down as Dorsey was looking for the shotgun snap and didn't get it. And we're having some problems, obviously, with the referee's mic.
There you go. Offensively, Miami against defensively. This is the number here. And then also Miami, those 2 numbers up there kind of tell you a little bit about the players that are on the field right now.
So they back it up to the 45. 1st and 15. McGahee. And now he's got an opener. Brought down by the safety, Tyler Hall, but he got 10.
From behind the Florida State defense, Hudson is 42. He's a big body. He just guesses to the outside and can't get back. Hudson's a middle linebacker. He weighs 270 pounds. That's a huge middle linebacker. He had not only 1 sprained ankle, 2 sprained ankles. We didn't know if he was going to play today.
He batted down that first pass of Dorsey's on this opening march for the Canes. Nice play fake by Dorsey. Going for the home run. Got a man open. Got him. Kellen Winslow, 1st and goal. We watched this kid at practice the other day. He's got as good a hands as you're going to find.
He catches everything. It's a little swing. He was lined up in the backfield. There he is right there. Makes the catch over the shoulder.
He's a tight end. He played wide receiver as a freshman. And Bob and Brad, I think he's still got a lot of wide receiver in him. That looked like a great play for anybody catching the ball.
Well, even though his daddy was a little bigger, he had a lot of wide receiver in him too. 1st and goal. 27-yard pickup, a career long for Winslow. McGahee inside, and Willis has it down to about the 4. So quite an opening drive for the defending national champions. They've mixed it up nicely. They had 3 third down and longs for Dorsey. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and 3rd and 14.
Didn't phase him.
Didn't phase him. He picked up 14, 14, and 22. And now they've got a guy down, Carlos Joseph, their left tackle. The guy that took over for Bryant McKinney, who was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, still unsigned in that capacity. And so
I think it's a knee or an ankle.
Now we check to see if we can figure out the injury. We'll remind you coming up. Doubleheader continues. Most of you are going to see Chris Sims lead number 2 Texas against 3rd-ranked Oklahoma. That's the Red River Shootout. Others will see number 17 Penn State take on 10th-ranked Michigan or Oregon UCLA. That's next right here on ABC. And so everybody now kind of holding their breath. You hate to see a comrade go down, and the Miami players looking on. Ronberg walking up there to see about his offensive line mate. 95 yards already in the drive, still out of the end zone. Let's head to Times Square Stadium, though. Here's John.
Brad, it's the Old Navy update. Ohio State against San Jose State. Maurice Clarett, outstanding freshman. This is his 13th touchdown of the year, matching his number there. That ties a freshman record for the Buckeyes. Ohio State with a 7-0 lead. Clarett already with 18 yards. And NC State looking for their 7th victory, up a touchdown on North Carolina. Brad.
All right, John, North Carolina State trying to go to 7-0, and that might put a pretty big battle against Florida State later in the season. There's Carlos Joseph, and he's walking out under his own power,
That's
which is
good
great.
news. Yeah, he took the place of Bryant McKinney, the big offensive lineman for the Hurricanes, who was drafted in the 1st round.
2nd down and goal at the 4. McGahee. And he squirted through for the touchdown. I don't know how.
He's 228 pounds, and he is strong.
Maybe squirt wasn't the right word.
Power.
It looked like the heap of humanity there that he had no chance to get in the end zone. All of a sudden, he pops out the other side.
Well, nobody makes a tackle. There's a lot of players in there, but nobody's making a tackle. He just keeps it alive.
Extra point by Severs is good. 89-yard drive. Willis McGahee, not to be denied, puts his head down and plows through. 7-0 Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, normally a quick striking team. That is the longest scoring drive of the season. 5 minutes and 48 seconds covering 89 yards. They were penalized a couple of times, so actually they covered more than 89 yards. And Bob, think about it. Kenny Dorsey told us the other day, you got to use all your weapons. Sands had a great catch. Beard caught a square in. Andre Johnson had a great catch. Kellen Winslow laid out for one to get it first and goal, and then the running back does the honor.
Pretty impressive. He told us yesterday, he says, now that Shockey's gone, the tight end that went to the Giants, he says, I'm looking everywhere. Everybody's getting open.
Another kick out of the end zone, and another start at the 20-yard line for Florida State now.
Dorsey was 4 of 6 for 77 yards. 77 yards passing, only 12 yards rushing on the opening drive.
And the last 4 for Larry Coker's Hurricanes was the touchdown by McGahee. Larry has never lost in his second year as a head coach.
He didn't lose in his first year either.
That's right. There's a guy that knows about all 17 of those victories for Larry Coker.
All right, Florida State needs to keep the ball, get some yardage, and move it down. Maybe get a field goal at worst.
Well, Greg Jones did his job on the first drive with a couple nice carries, and they'll go back to him on the toss. Trying to get around the corner. Didn't get much. B.J. Williams, who was a player of the year in high school, is starting to come into his own, and he's one of those linebackers that can really run.
Florida State offensively in the nation. The rushing is a lot better than their passing, which is a little unusual for this team.
Still, look at the balance, though.
Yeah.
It's not bad. There's only 8 teams in the country. 2 of them are here that pass and run for both 200 yards or more per game. They're both on this field. Here's Jones trying to sprint outside. The speed of the Canes defense there again, though. And this time it's John Vilma, the middle linebacker, who brought him down. It's going to bring up 3rd down and a long 4.
Yeah, you just couldn't get a hat on the middle linebacker. Watch the middle linebacker. Here's Vilma right here. He's just going to run the play down. Everybody else has got a hat on a Hurricane. But look at him just run past and run through everybody. You know, we were with Vilma and we were with Willis McGahee,
right,
the running back. McGahee is bigger, weighs more than the middle linebacker does. Vilma weighs 222. The running back weighs 228.
Out of the shotgun now for Chris Ricks. 3rd down and 4. Has some time, running out of it, and down he goes. It's Jamal Green. They're a sack-happy bunch. Fresh bodies on that defensive line, and they pick up their 20th sack of the year.
All right, you got to throw it right now. The coverage sack, it was a little bump and run. The receiver didn't get open when Chris wanted him there, and he took a sack.
Punting unit out. Chance Gwaltney's first one was not that good. This one's better. High kick. Parrish, late fair catch, and then takes it on his duff at the 35-yard line. 43-yard kick and no return. Will return in a moment, though, with the Hurricanes ahead by 7 on their home field. Miami was near classic. Their big left tackle, Carlos Joseph, who twisted his knee back in on the left side of the Hurricanes line, and they'll start this time from the 35-yard line. Dorsey off a play fake. Throws. Johnson trying to scoop it. He didn't get enough on the pass. It's incomplete.
Bad throw. And Dorsey would be the first to admit to you.
He just slapped himself in the helmet after that one.
Yeah, he rushed it. Tried to get it out there. Comparison after the first start, we talked about the quarterbacks. Rick's not getting off to a good start, which he needed to on the road. He's been sacked once. Dorsey had done everything right on that first drive. That was a poor throw there, though. He just rushed it. He saw the receiver breaking open, and he wanted to get it to him, and he rushed it.
He had all day with that little roll to the right side to throw. Now back to the ground, McGahee, and he's all tangled up. He might have lost a yard. Jeff Womble One of the first guys there to meet him.
Brad, you know what a great start, Willis McGahee this year. But if things had worked out differently, he may have been the third string running back here.
Clinton Portis left early, and now he's playing behind your son as a starter in Denver.
And Frank Gore, who was an outstanding true freshman last year, played well in the Rose Bowl championship game, hurt himself in the spring, tore up a knee, and has not been back. So number 3, Willis McGahee, is now tearing it up, and they're calling him around their Heisman.
Yep. Here's Dorsey with a blitz. Lofts it out, Sands, the intended receiver, incomplete. And Florida State got some nice pressure on number 11 that time.
That's what they need to do, knock him down. Remember the old days when Florida State used to have those high-powered defensive ends? They knocked the quarterback down. They were the most penalized 5 years in a row in the AC. I'll take it. I'll take the 15-yard, knock the quarterback down.
Freddie Capshaw doesn't get an opportunity to punt all that often. Takes a wide snap, and he got the kick away, and it's a good one. Johnson, the freshman from the 15. Wow. And, well, he's still on his feet. They did not, and SAR, they're going to bring it back. I thought his knee touchdown. So a 50-yard kick and no return. He's met by the coverage team of the Hurricanes. But Florida State's defense did their job. They give it back to the offense, trailing by a touchdown. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew on a hot day in Miami at the Orange Bowl. The defending national champions lead by a touchdown. It's a sticky one out here. You want to get as cool as you can between series.
You talked about that second team defensive line for Miami. They're in there right now.
As a group. So Florida State, their defense did its job. Now the offense goes to work from the 15. High backfield. Jones cuts it outside. And he got about 5 tough yards before Andrew Williams finally at least got him out of bounds. And they're talking a little bit. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Yeah, I know the folks in Oklahoma would take offense at me saying this is the best defensive line in football, but when you look at the depth, the 8 guys that Miami can rotate through there, it's pretty scary. 40 yards on the ground, nothing in the air so far.
Well, that's not good because they're going to need Chris Ricks if they're going to win this ball game.
2nd down and 5. They will keep it on the ground, and this will be a first down run. Jones puts his head down and bangs his way through DJ Williams and out to the 26-yard line.
2 back split, run inside the defensive ends. That's a good play, good running play. Picks up some yardage. I was talking to Darrell Dickey, the quarterback coach, before the ball game for Florida State, and he said a lot of what they're going to do is quick passing, 3 steps, throw one-on-one on the outside. They think their receivers can beat the young corners for Miami.
See if they do here. On first down, Ricks lofts it over the middle. Short gain, but at least a completion. Maddox made the catch and Williams the tackle.
That's the other thing you like to do. Work your backs on their linebackers. You think your backs with their speed can outplay and outrun their linebackers.
Bob and Brad, you were talking about the experience and the defensive line for Miami. You know, people kept talking about last year's team, all the experience that was leaving, but a guy like Vince Wilfork, who was a backup, played more than any other tackle for his team last year. And he was never listed as a starter. So if he were to start, yeah, he'd be a new starter, but a very experienced one.
And he's a load at about 350. Ricks play fake, and now thinking about taking off with it, and he does. Got around the corner, and he might have a first down.
Now that's the way Chris Ricks needs to react, just instinctively. You drop back, you look downfield. If nothing's there, okay, I'm going to run. Don't force it. Don't run when the talk radio people say you're supposed to or whatever. Do it instinctively.
Bobby Bowden, talking with the 3 of us the other day, admitted that right now Chris is confused. You know, he's not using his instincts that he did last year. He's thinking too much. Well, they don't want me to get out of the pocket. What do I do? What do I do? That time he did the right thing, but he's still short of a first down by inches. And timeout taken by Florida State. With 3 minutes, 9 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Miami leading Bobby Bowden's club by 7. Hurricanes leading in a big third down situation here early in the ball game for Florida State. Third down and inches. Ricks, first down, straight ahead. And that'll move the sticks. So Florida State starting to put something together here offensively in the last 3 minutes of the first quarter.
Florida State has been playing well on offense. 8 starters returned to that offense. It's just that Chris has been a little bit inconsistent at the quarterback play. You know, they lost to Louisville. It was a horrible night to play football. It was a downpour, and Chris didn't throw the ball well. No quarterback's going to throw the ball well in that kind of weather.
And Miami jumps in there. Wilfork, I think the guilty party, unless he was drawn offside. Once Vince gets that weight going in one direction, it ain't stopping. So it's going to be 1st and 5.
Yeah. And I always tell the story that the defensive tackles, the one right next to the ball, are the easiest ones to pull off with your cadence because they're the ones that can hear you.
Right.
And if you can do a cadence of inflection, hut, 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 they'll jump off a little bit. It wouldn't have been a hit down. Quarterbacks don't do that stuff.
I saw a center doing it the other night. That was something else. The Virginia Tech center. Here's Jones on a toss, and he is smothered that time. DJ Williams the first there, and then Andrew Williams helped out. There's Jeff Bowden, the offensive coordinator. And if he looks like a different guy than last year, he's lost like 50 pounds or something.
Good for Jeff. Got his sleeves rolled up.
Yeah, he knows he's looking better this year.
Yes, sir.
Walking around like Swanee down there. 2nd down and 4. Only 3 passes so far.
3rd possession.
They'll try one here. Firing incomplete, intended for Anquan Bolden.
That's the plan. Just run short stuff to the outside, but the quarterback has got to find the receiver. He's got to find where he is. It's not going to be like practice.
I think he's telling Anquan, why'd you cut your route off?
See, he had bump and run coverage on the outside, and he just run down about 5 steps and hook to the inside. Now the quarterback's got to find him. He may be a little bit further in than practice or further out than practice, but you have to find him.
Well, Chris made his feelings known to Bolden about where he thought he should have been. Now it's 3 wide receivers for him out of the shotgun. Over the middle, Maddox has got it, but Williams is all over it. DJ Williams having a great start here in this first quarter. And so Florida State's got to give it up again.
It's just good defense. Miami 3rd in the nation in total defense and 3rd in the nation in pass defense, even though they lost 4 guys in the secondary. All 4 starters graduated and went to the NFL.
Walt need a punt. That's Ethnic Sands waiting on the other end. Sands has to call for the fair catch, and he'll take it at the 11-yard line. Let's check in with John Saunders at Times Square Stadium. John.
Right, we got a Big Ten matchup where big plays are part of the day. Michigan State trailing Iowa 10-7. Derek Pagel steps in front of this pass and takes it back 62 yards for the touchdown. They also have a kickoff return for 94 yards as Iowa has built the lead over the Spartans 17-7. And Missouri and Nebraska, remember Missouri with a close win, or almost had a close win last week. Right now they're up over Nebraska 7-0.
Last week, Missouri gave Oklahoma a scare to the very end. And now doing it to Nebraska. Here's a throw, almost intercepted. Dorsey threw it out, intended for Kevin Byrd, and Leroy Smith almost had him one.
You know, the corners of Florida State in past years would have picked this baby off and been in the end zone. Smith is a redshirt sophomore. That's a bad throw. It's a wobbly throw. It takes a while to get out there. Look at 32 Smith. He reads this the whole way. Yeah, if he would have been confident, this is the problem. the secondary and the defense not making plays for Florida State.
Second down and 10. Dorsey deep down the middle. Kellen Winslow's got it. First down, Miami. Out to the 33-yard line. Second catch of the day for Winslow. This one's 21 yards. Their leading receiver coming in, and he's showing why.
I think this is him right here. He's just going to come across field. He's a smallish looking tight end, but boy, can he run. And I remember a game in 1981 where his daddy just tore up the Dolphins.
That's right, right here.
Right here on this field.
In an overtime game where everybody was tired when it was all over. There's his numbers so far. McGahee, tough 4 yards, maybe 5 off the left side.
And Bob and Brad, that play by Winslow, I want to tell you something. My observation down here is that didn't occur just because he read the play. On the first drives for Miami, Winslow has been open all day, coming across a couple of times, even looked a little frustrated. I think he came to the sideline, talked to him, and said, look, I know I might not be the primary, but look to me, I am breaking open. He has not been covered once this afternoon.
He'll get a chance to get a breath here. First quarter comes to a close, and the first 15 belongs to Miami. And a 1. The Hurricanes 7, Florida State nothing. An ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. What a beautiful shot that is. A Goodyear blimp, #1 in tires, high over the Orange Bowl for us today. Been covering sporting events forever, and great to have them along with us. Some beautiful pictures on a beautiful day if you're just wearing t-shirt and shorts. It's a little sticky if you got 40 pounds of equipment on. Start of the second quarter, 7-0 Miami. And they've got the ball, second down and 5. McGahee, run down from behind. Nice tackle by Kevin Emanuel, who went all the way down the line to make the stop. And a loss of a yard. You see there in the background, maybe on the scoreboard, you wonder how many Orange Bowl workers does it take to change a light bulb? Well, when it's 90 feet in the air, it takes more than one. I know that. They're trying to get the scoreboard fixed up there, and there's a lot of bulbs. They are hoping they find the right one, or we won't have a lot of replays, at least for the fans in attendance, the sold-out crowd. Third down and 6. Dorsey, quick throw. Sands makes the turn at midfield. Cuts it outside, and he's all the way to the 25-yard line. An instinctively beautiful move after the catch to know where the DB was. He went the other way, and he faked out Bryant McFadden.
Well, he's just going to go down here and do a little stop route right in front of McFadden. The interesting thing starts after he catches it. Watch McFadden doesn't tackle him. All you got to do is come up and make sure you make a play. That's a pass designed to pick up a first down that picked up a lot of yardage, get Miami down inside the 30.
The run after the catch netted 38 yards for Sands. That's his season-long reception. Now it's first down Miami. Nice play fake by Dorsey. Might want the home run here. Thrown and intercepted. Picked off back at the 8-yard line by Michael Boulware, who got a deep drop from his linebacker position.
Boulware is one of those guys that came to Florida State as a wide receiver and wanted to play linebacker. Take a look from behind the quarterback. He's going to roll to his left. Now he's going to try and throw back. He's looking left. Now he comes back. Now look at Boulware right there in front of him. Makes the play just like a receiver would.
You remember Swanee saying, Kellen Winslow said, I'm open all day long. That time he wasn't.
Yeah. He must have gone back and told Dorsey, hey, throw it to me, I'm open.
That was not a pretty pass again either by Dorsey. Obviously to be intercepted.
You can't believe those receivers all the time.
That's true, but when you go back and look at it again, you'll see that ball was thrown behind Winslow.
It was. But he had two guys on him.
Florida State's got it offensively. Jones weaving out to the 9, got a couple.
That's a big play for Florida State because defensively they needed to make a play. The play before when McFadden missed the tackle, I'm sure Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, said, "Oh, here we go again. Nobody's making plays. Somebody step up and make a play."
Remember, Miami was +3 in the turnover category last year against this team, but Florida State turned it over 7 times. You can't ever win doing that. Second down and 8. That end of the stadium, deafening noise behind Ricks, and Chris comes up, throws a deep out for Gardner, just a little bit too far in front of him.
Took a big hit, too.
And he's still down. It was Orrin Harris who let Chris Ricks have it after he let go of that ball.
This is a little play action. They're working single on the outside, bump and run.
Boy, that's something like the hit he took against Clemson that put him out of the ball game for much of that quarter last week early in the ball game. So it's 3rd down and long, and this is a dangerous spot. You don't want to throw an errant pass here if you're Florida State.
Well, the dangerous thing here are these ends on 3rd and 7 or 8 yards passing. There you go.
They're going to try to play it safe, but staying home to make the stop is Andrew Williams.
Yeah. That's the best defensive line in the country.
And he's not a starter.
That's right. Number 99, they did a little twist. That means that 2 defensive linemen on the right side, they switch positions as they rush the passer. It causes a problem in the pass protection.
Chance Gwaltney, tough spot now. Hasn't had a punt block this year. And he gets this one away nicely. Nice kick. Parrish takes it at the 43. And he's down right there. And it's Leon Washington down there to make the stop on the special teams. 7-0. Miami Hurricanes lead the Seminoles. Back in the Orange Bowl, Bob Greasy's old stomping grounds. Florida State and Miami, number 12 and number 1. And so far it's the Hurricanes in front by only a touchdown. This is their best starting field position, though, just outside their own 44-yard line. Dorsey, play action going deep. Johnson's out there. Incomplete. Double coverage. No penalty marker on the play. So going for the home run there with good field position. And Bob, so far, Florida State's defense, much maligned defense, I guess, is, I think, playing better than their offense for sure.
Well, Florida State's had the ball 4 times and has punted 4 times. Miami has had it 3 times, and Florida State defensively got an interception, so that's good for Florida State. As long as you can stay in a game with Miami, 7-0 like that, you know, the better off you are.
So 2nd down at 10 at the 44. McGahee broke 1 tackle, but not the second, and now flag comes in. May have a holding call. The linesman threw it in there when the play was ending. And that will be what we have. This will back Miami up a little bit. Larry Coker, the most unassuming and nice guy you'd ever want to be around. Longtime assistant, of course, before becoming the head coach when Butch Davis left for the Cleveland Browns. I was kidding him at practice the other day. I said, "Coach, you still mowing your own lawn?" He used to say that people would drive by and not know who he was. He's got a little bigger lawn now.
Yeah.
A little bigger house. 9-0 at home. And, of course, national champions last year with a 12-0 and a win over Nebraska in the Rose Bowl.
Great story. When Butch Davis left the Miami Hurricanes in early January or February of 2000, they wanted to give the job to Dave Wanstead. He didn't want it from the Dolphins, and then they wanted Barry Alvarez, and if you're looking for somebody, and they said, well, we'll give it to the offensive coordinator. And he's worked out.
There we have it. McGahee down the sideline, a nice stiff arm to get out. Where will they spot it? First down run at any rate, out near the 48-yard line. First down for the Canes as we check in with John in New York.
The Ohio State Buckeyes in a battle with San Jose State. There's Scott Rizlov who goes 9 yards to Charles Pauley, who was wide open. They missed a field goal, did San Jose State. Ohio State has just scored again to open their lead now 16-7. The extra points still to come. Keep a look at your screen. We'll let you know whether they get it.
Wasn't it San Jose State that went in and beat Illinois?
It's third down. I may have said first down before the break. Dorsey's hammered as he lets go of the football. Alonzo Jackson that time with the pressure. So the defensive ends of the Noles are doing what they have to do.
Well, Jackson, top of your screen, just shoves Joseph, the tackle that was hurt a little bit earlier in the ball game, just pushes him back and then just jumps on Dorsey. That's what Mickey wants him to do. Get in there and smack that quarterback.
Florida State, though that's not a sack, have already surpassed their sack total from last year. So they are getting more heat on the quarterbacks. Fourth down. Freddie Capshaw to punt. Leon Washington will take a fair catch. He dropped it. Miami covered it at the 15. Antrell Roll was in the right place at the right time.
It's a true freshman. Leon Washington, number 33, back there returning punts.
There's the fair catch.
He returned the kickoff for a touchdown, and then he's had very good success returning kicks. But you can't put it on the ground against your arch rival.
Boy, and right at the 15-yard line.
It brings up a point, guys. You know, Florida State picks off a pass. They get a turnover deep in their own territory. They got to march a length of the field. But here's a turnover right in prime territory for scoring.
Now we got another fumble. And I think Florida State's got this one. I don't know if Romberg snapped it and Dorsey wasn't ready or what. But a wacky play is giving it back to the Seminoles.
Well, Bob and Brad, they shouldn't have just walked up to the ball and snapped it. He just snapped it.
Well, it was a quick snap because Florida State wasn't on the field yet. Look at this. They're still coming out here. So he wanted to quick snap it.
And Florida State walks right into a fumble recovery as they're still getting up to the line.
Romberg, the center, and Dorsey, the quarterback, are roommates. I think that route worked out a little bit better.
You're going to rearrange the rent plan. At the 16-yard line. Florida State gets it right back. Ricks threw a little fade out there, and there's going to be holding, I think, on Alfonso Marshall. Intended for Robert Morgan.
Marshall was jamming the wide receiver, but the ball was being thrown in the air.
Pass interference is the call. That's the fifth penalty on Miami.
Yeah, you can't see the jam outside. There you see right there. You can jam him as long as he's in front of you if the ball's not in the air. There you see the early jam. The ball's in the air right now.
So first down out to the 24. Sort of a wacky couple of minutes here at the Orange Bowl. Florida State trailing by a touchdown. Jones broke a tackle. He's into the secondary, and he's still going. Out to the 37-yard line. 13 yards for Greg Jones. Penalty marker down. Somebody's got their helmet off out there, and that isn't good. Unless it was knocked off. Glenn Sharp. I don't know if that was the penalty. We'll wait and see.
The penalty is a personal foul against the Seminoles.
That ball foul.
That's Todd Williams, 79, coming over and getting the block.
The end of the play. That's right there. Yeah, well, that's why the helmet came off. Anquan Bolden gave Glenn Sharp one of the chops.
Now you need to know behind the scenes there. Bolden is a senior, and Sharp is a true freshman. So Bolden is just trying to say, hey, boy, you can't cover me.
Bolden out of there right now. Tillman Gardner in. That spot. First down at 10. Still for the Noles. Now they're going to try the same play the other way. Gardner makes Robert Morgan makes a catch on this one. In front of Sharp, the aforementioned freshman.
Yep. Well, that was the game plan going in. Throw short and quick to the outside, one-on-one on these wide receivers versus these young corners, and then get the running game with Greg Jones going inside.
Remember, last year, Bolden and Morgan both missed the whole season with knee injuries.
Yeah.
And you wonder if they're all the way back Morgan, nice adjustment on that ball with a good catch. Second quarter has been Florida State's this year. They're hoping that continues today. Now it's Jones, and he breaks free again. Jones on the run all the way to the 45. 19 more yards for Jones. Boy, he's a load when he gets going because it's about 250.
Well, he's going to come right through the right side, our right side. Straight blocking. Everybody just got a man, and they stay with him. That's good blocking by the offensive line. Good running.
First trip into Miami territory for Florida State at the 45-yard line. First down. Ricks takes a knee. Flags fly as Miami. William Joseph and Jerome McDougal both appeared to enter the neutral zone, but we'll see if that's the call. And it is. So a free 5 yards.
The penalty.
10:26 remaining in the half. 7-0. Miami our score. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Who holds the Division 1A coaching record for most consecutive wins to start a career? You may have to dig a little bit to find that one. We'll let you know the answer a little bit later on. Boy, the Canes almost jumped again. And now Ricks is changing things up on a 1st and 5. And now he's got motion on his offensive front. Hughes, the tight end, came out of his stance.
And this is a loud place. I'm sure Hughes is saying, I couldn't hear you.
The procedure penalty is against the Seminoles.
So it backs it up to the original line of scrimmage. So they're right back where they started. Nick Maddox is the tailback, giving Greg Jones a little breather. And again, Ricks trying to be heard. Play action. Wants to go long and does. And incomplete, another penalty marker. All tangled up down there is Glenn Sharp again.
They're picking on Sharp, the true freshman. Sharp never sees the ball. The receiver tried to get back at it.
So that is the, what, third pass interference penalty on Miami?
Here you see it again. The ball is underthrown. If Ricks would have stepped up in the pocket, he could have got it down the field. The arm, the left arm, the leg goes out. The defensive back. Did I let you back inside?
Nope. So this will be walked off as a first down to the 30-yard line. This is the deepest penetration of the day, obviously, for Florida State with 9:36 remaining in the half. Bobby Bowden wants to know what the play is.
Well, what you doing up there? What you doing?
At the 30. Miami looks like they're going to bring the house. They do, and it's Maddox running right by the blitz outside, inside the 20. Maddox, touchdown! Perfect play with what Miami had coming forward, and Nick Maddox has great speed. Florida State's an extra point away from tying it up.
Florida State caught Miami in a blitz. They don't blitz very often.
Robert Morgan got a great block to wide receiver. That helps spring him. Xavier Beitia in for the point after. They try to tie it up. Low snap, handled well. Kick is good. So Florida State right back in the thick of things. Nick Maddox does the honors from 30 yards out. We're tied at 7.
Log on to BCSFootball.com and you could tailgate with Dodge at this year's Tostitos Fiesta Bowl or the Nokia Sugar Bowl in the Dodge BCS Ultimate Tailgate Challenge.
ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chrysler. Drive equals love. Aflac, ask about it at work. And Michelob Ultra, lose the carbs, not the taste. That's what I need, low carb Low carb beer.
Yeah.
I'm always working on that, you know. High protein, low carbs.
I like that.
We're tied at 7. It was an 84-yard drive.
Remember, that drive started with the exchange of turnovers.
2 fumble recoveries on back-to-back plays. Mayfield a kick. High kick. And deep. Gathers, and takes a knee.
Let's go back and look at the touchdown. Here's the linebacker. He's going to blitz, but watch over here. DJ Williams is going to get blown up by the fullback. That's Dean. Now watch the opening when he hits him right here. Now you got the end coming up the outside. You've got the
There's Morgan's block.
Yeah, and the guard Montre Holland has nobody to block.
And watch the wide receiver now. Swanee loves this.
Stand with your man. Just occupy him.
Just enough to give Maddox a corner. Now McGahee on first down. Really had to work for about 3. B.J. Ward in on the stop along with Kendall Pope. So the number 12 team in the country lost 2 in a row in this series after dominating it for much of the 90s when they won 5 straight. Florida State came to play, and you know they're not too happy. We didn't even mention this earlier. It's homecoming here at Miami.
Yeah.
And some of the Seminoles said, you want to talk about a slap in the face.
Yeah. Bobby,
you're supposed to play some Eastern, Southeastern, Northeastern one of those schools.
Bobby says, he says, I used to be a homecoming game for everybody when I first got to Florida State.
That's right.
25 years ago, we'd always be the homecoming game.
Dorsey goes to his 3rd choice at receiver, and Pope just leveled Quatron Hill.
Okay, the momentum of this game has changed. Early on, Miami was doing anything they wanted, and Florida State players were just kind of moping around. I don't know what changed. It may have been
Bulwer's interception.
The interception changed it, and that got them back in the ball game.
So 3rd down and 7 for Miami.
Dorsey, only 2 of his last 9, including an interception.
Early, they were great on their 3rd down conversions, though. Getting some pressure. Had to get rid of it too quickly. Again, it was Florida State's heat on Dorsey that forced an early throw, and it's incomplete. Bulwer was coming, so was Willie Jones. Wait a minute. Dorsey's doing some talking to those guys. And no flags.
Well, he threw this ball before he wanted to. A linebacker in his face. Boy, you just opening the gates right there.
So time to punt. Capshaw's punt. Leon Washington camps under it at the 33, and number 33 made the first man miss. He's dangerous in the open field. And the freshman's back across midfield. Nice return by Leon Washington. And a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. It's a holding call against Miami. And I would think this would just be declined. You're not going to do much better than the 49-yard line.
Bob and Brad.
Go ahead, Swanee.
You're talking about what might be the difference in this ball game. It may just be the fact that this is the first game for Miami, that they're playing a team that is equally as fast and strong as they are. They've played a lot of ball games where they could run away from people. They've been no match on the speed. In this ball game, if anybody's got a 4.8 or something like that next to their time, they're usually an offensive or defensive lineman.
That's right.
Everybody else is 4.2 or 4.4.
So now Florida State with an opportunity to take a lead with a short field. Ricks, quick throw, almost intercepted by 2 Hurricanes. Antrell Roll had his hands on it. It ricocheted off him, and Sean Taylor almost grabbed it.
Unbelievable, the ricochet angle. Ricks is going to try and hit a little slant to the top of the screen. The receiver falls down. Now the ricochet comes off of Roll right to Sykes.
And you know
Taylor,
what?
26.
If that would have been Ed Reed last year, that would have been a 57-yard touchdown going the other way.
That you're exactly right. That's experience in the defensive backfield versus young kids back there. 2nd
down at 10. Jones bounced off a tackle again. Another first down run by Greg Jones down to the 35-yard line. He is becoming a force. Let's check in with John Saunders at Times Square Stadium. John.
Brad, we told you earlier that North Carolina State is looking to win their 7th game of the year, up 7-3 on Carolina. Darian Durant, 22 yards to Bobby Blizzard for the touchdown. Extra point. Tar Heels lead 10-7. Brad.
Darian Durant, who had, 417 yards throwing last week. Greg Jones already has 100 yards rushing in this one. And he's got the Noles a first down at the Hurricane 34-yard line. Here comes a full blitz. Ricks, the fade for Bolden, in and out of his hands. Probably should have had it, but Kelly Jennings stayed right there with him.
Jennings did a great job. They're throwing that fade to the wide side of the field, always to a bump and run guy. Well, look at this. You got single coverage out here, nobody helping. You know, Bolden shows it too soon. Should have played a little dummy, you know. He should have said, oh, the
little cat and mouse.
Yeah, it's not coming, it's not coming. Oh, there it is. I got it.
3 balls thrown in Anquan Bolden's direction. No catches yet. Second down at 10. I'm not so sure. I just wouldn't keep packing it into number 6. We'll try him again. This time Miami's thinking the same thing I am. DJ Williams in on the stop, along with Matt Walters, the defensive tackle. Our Pacific Life game summary. So far for Florida State, it's been Greg Jones who's done the damage. This is the first carry of the ball game where he cut it outside and ripped it off for over 20 yards. Got tattooed at the end of it, but he's already got a 100-yard plus game, and it's Maddox, a little change of pace guy, that's got the Florida State touchdown at 30 yards, and we're tied at 7.
Bobby Bowden says, I call him Maddox and Jones, my fastball and my curveball.
The fastball's in there right now.
Yeah.
On third down. They fake it to him, and Rick's in trouble. Chris running out of it, but he's planted at about the 28-yard line. Had one more guy to get by, and DJ Williams is not letting anybody by today.
Yeah, that's good sportsmanship right there. You know, it's a linebacker on a quarterback, and Rick's runs pretty good. I mean, really good.
Yes, he does.
And Williams says, none of this. I'm putting you down.
Xavier Beitia will come in. He's 11 of 13 on the year. This will be a 45-yard attempt. His career long was against Virginia Tech in the bowl game of 50. So he's capable. And he'll try from 45 to give the Noles the lead. Kick on the way, and it is right down the middle. So the upset-minded Seminoles talking a little bit to the hometown Hurricanes. 10-7 Florida State. Florida State leading Miami now with 6:12 to go in the half. 10-7, and the tide has definitely turned a little bit. And you know, all that Florida State swagger that they used to have, and you thought they'd lost it.
Yeah.
They're starting to get it back, Bob, a little bit by a little bit.
You didn't see it in the first quarter, but the momentum in a college football game can change just like that.
So Beitia, who hit the 45-yard field goal and then had some words for the defense after the kick. Kicks off. This one will be returned from the goal line. And Geathers is hammered down at about the 16. Our Aflac trivia question: who holds the Division 1A coaching record for most consecutive wins to start a career? And I'm going to say Walter Camp had about 28 in a row at Yale before he lost one.
I'll say Barry Switzer, but there was a tie in there, I think.
That's true.
Huh?
So what's the answer? They're going to give us one? Walter Camp, 28-0.
Yeah.
The Bulldogs of Yale. Thank you very much.
I got a card here.
I didn't get a card.
I just got it now,
No.
though. I didn't
that
get it
one
before.
I got on my own, partner.
I didn't get it before the hand.
I take the early lead. And McGahee is dropped for a loss. Florida State's defense playing well. Kendall Pope in on the stop.
Hey, Bob and Brad, you know, swans are distant relatives of the Aflac duck. And the duck told me that Bob Greasy was trying to bribe someone for the answer with about $60.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yeah. Bob, you wouldn't have done that, would you?
Mr.
Yes.
Aflac. These guys try to cheat every week. I'm the only guy that doesn't pull the money clip out.
Hey, I want to tell you.
McGahee back maybe the original line of scrimmage.
Barry Switzer won 29 straight games without a loss.
But he had a tie in there.
Yeah, well.
Yep. He's got a holding call against Miami. So the Canes are going in the wrong direction here. That's one thing that Larry was telling us really bothers him about the team is too penalized, and they've had a lot of them that have cost him. In fact, they came into this game with almost exactly twice as many penalties as the opponent.
The offense.
That one's declined.
Well, they are the most penalized team in the conference, and you know, sometimes you can accept some penalties. I mean, but you never want them on offense. You want them on defense, where your defense is going to have an attitude, be a little nasty, maybe get some, personal foul. You can accept some of that, but you don't want them on offense.
Let's see if Kenny Dorsey can pick up a 3rd down and 11 here. Winslow in motion. Dorsey pump fakes one way, McGahee on a screen the other, but Florida State is there, and they make the tackle. And the ball came loose at the end of the play. They're going to say it was blown dead. Darnell Dockett got over there, wombles the guy on top of the ball, and so it is punting time for the Hurricanes again.
There'll be a little screen to the left side. Watch the linebacker right there. He just mirrors him, goes out to pick him up. I'm taking the ball. No, he was down.
Yep, his back hit. That's what popped it up. 4th 3 and out now for the Canes. Mickey Andrews liking what he's seeing from his defense today. High snap. He got the kick away, though. Hung it in the air. Short. Washington, fair catch. He dropped one earlier. He makes the catch on this one at the 49-yard line.
Great field position.
Again, last time they were at the Hurricane 49, this time at their own 49 when we come back. Wow, 14 touchdowns. Florida State leading here. Upset-minded Seminoles. Somebody forgot to tell them they're not playing well, because they're playing pretty well right now. At midfield, 1st down. Great field position to start the drive again after the Florida State defense held. Jones already over the 100-yard mark, and he's got more coming here. At least 10, and then he puts his shoulder down and gets 3 more. Alfonso Marshall finally says, what's the license plate number on this thing?
Yeah, well, the great thing about Jones, he's in no hurry. Look at him. He lets his guys do the work up front, and then he's got some speed and quickness to get through the hole, break some tackles, and he's got the size. I mean, this kid is 250 pounds, and he's got some moves.
1st down inside the Miami 37-yard line. Maddox back in there now to give Jones a breather. And remember, Nick's the guy that's got the Florida State touchdown today. They'll go to him. Change of pace. Maddox broke a tackle inside the 30. All the way down to the 21. Make it the 20-yard line.
Yeah, the fastball and the curveball. Maddox and Jones, the lightweight and the heavyweight. That's just good blocking up front by the tight end.
Then Sykes missed him.
Sykes, poor tackling. Runs to the sideline. That defensive line doesn't want to play it against the run. They want to rush the passer.
1st down at the 20 now. Florida State threatening again, and now they want to come with some pressure, and Will Fork said they drew me offside. But again, either Rick's cadence or whatever, and it looks like it's going to be a free 5 yards for Florida State. And it is.
5 yards. Remains 1st down.
Well, Randy Shannon is the defensive coordinator and says that's enough of this. I'm going to start blitzing. If you guys are going to run on me, I'm going to blitz you. And Will Fork that time just jumped because Vilma behind him was coming up, putting his hand on him, pushing him a little bit. Those guys in front don't like to get touched when they're sitting on go.
And again, Ricks takes a knee. And now it's become just a neutral zone battle here for Florida State down in the red zone to try to chip away with penalties. Remember, on that one drive, 28 yards in penalties against Miami helped the Florida State cause. This time, back to back.
Hey, This is
5
a
yarders.
great job by Chris Ricks with controlling the line of scrimmage with your cadence. Those defensive guys, I mean, the only advantage the offense has is we know when the snap ball is going to be snapped, and if you guys are sitting on goal over there, I'm going to try and pull you off.
And now you'd think it would make them tentative to not do it again, and then you're on your heels a little bit. First and goal, Florida State at the Miami 10. Already leading by 3 and looking to add to it with 3:38 remaining in the second quarter. Maddox up the middle, only got a yard. William Joseph makes the stop on the bottom of the pile that time.
Earlier in the game, Chris Ricks couldn't check off, especially down in this closed end zone. Now that the Florida State Seminoles are ahead, the crowd is quiet, and now he can check off.
This is the first half, Bob, and this is a season high allowed in rushing by Miami. 171 yards for the Noles.
For the game.
For the game in the first half, yeah. Second and goal. Now they go to 3 wide receivers. Jones back in there has a single setback, and he'll get the call. And the big fella this time is all wrapped up. Might have lost a yard, in fact. Sykes from the secondary. Joseph and Cornelius Green on the defensive line.
Yeah, well, Miami is just packed in there now for this run. They know how the Seminoles have gotten where they've gotten, and that is throwing, I mean, running the football. Throwing it, they're only have 17 yards passing. Ricks is 3 of 9.
Bobby Bowden wants to talk this over with the guys on the sideline and the guys upstairs. It's a timeout taken by Florida State with 2:39 remaining in the half.
It's got quarterback draw written all over it right here.
Coming up on Monday night, Al Michaels and John Madden will be along for the birth of a new division rivalry. Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens, and the 49ers take on Sean Alexander and the Seahawks. Monday night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Don't forget, cast your vote for Monday Night Football's greatest game at ESPN.com. Keyword MNF500 or NFL.com. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Chris Ricks talking upstairs.
Daryl Dickey, the quarterback coach, and Daryl calls most of the plays. He's talking on the receiver downstairs with Jeff Bowden. It's hard to see him, but I think it's right in there. But this is a chance. I mean, I don't think they want to throw the football down here with Miami's aggressive defense. I think this is a perfect chance for a quarterback draw. But Miami also knows that.
Right.
So what you do, Miami, is you twist your linemen. You got to cover everybody, but you twist your linemen rushing. That messes up the blocking assignments.
Willie Reed will be the single setback. If you do throw at this spot, I'd watch out for Tolman Gardner, because he does nothing but catch touchdown passes.
And down here is single coverage. Nobody down there helping.
That's Morgan. And now it's Miami that takes a timeout. Little chess match here. Let's see what they show us, and now we'll take a timeout. And we'll try to defend it. So the whole group comes over to talk things over on the Hurricane sideline. Coming up on the Valvoline halftime show, John and Terry will be along. We'll have all the scores and highlights from around the country. And they'll look ahead to our great doubleheader that'll be going on today. Most of you will see Oklahoma and Texas, number 2 and number 3, tangling at Dallas at the Cotton Bowl for the State Fair. And Brent and Gary will be down there calling that one for you. And that'll be a dandy. And this one ain't too bad either. Number 1 against number 12, and it's 12th ranked Florida State with a lead. Speaking of John Saunders, let's check in with him right now.
Brad, we promise we won't do halftime on the motorcycle, but Wisconsin against Indiana today. Wisconsin coming off the loss last week to Penn State. That's Brooks Bollinger, 23 yards to Jonathan Orr, and Wisconsin grabs the lead back at 16-10. Brad.
All right, John, that one in the Big Ten. This one, the 46th meeting of these rivals. Florida State hasn't done much in the air. Bob's thinking quarterback draw. I'm saying watch out for Tolman Gardner. It's 3rd down and goal.
They're socked in. There's a single coverage on the outside receivers.
Ricks from the gun. Waits, fires, Gardner, touchdown.
Great throw.
Perfect throw from Ricks. And it's number 21. Tolman Gardner. His 6th touchdown catch of the year. There's a happy quarterback.
It should be. Been through a lot.
Beitia in for the point after as the crowd is stunned and silenced, and the 10-point lead now for Florida State. Penalty marker down on the extra point. So they went 50 yards, and Tallman Gardner a 10-yard touchdown catch. Take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook.
We know a lot of times when the defense and the offense get down here, they don't protect the end of the back of the end zone. But these two receivers are going to run here, but this man right here, Gardner, is going to run to the back of the end zone and come straight across the back. Now watch as the quarterback sits up, looks at the two guys short, and finds a receiver in the back coming across horizontally along the back line, and he hits him. A lot of times quarterbacks don't use that, and defenses don't defend it. He looks all the way to the back line. Good throw and good catch.
(17-7). Short field, 50-yard drive, 5 plays. Jones did some of it, Maddox did some of it, and then it was Ricks to his favorite target, Tallman Gardner.
Florida State has scored on their last 3 possessions.
17 unanswered points, and Beitia now to kick off. That was Jared Payton you saw back deep. He's back there with Geathers, and he'll have to take it in the end zone and take a knee. Bob talked about a momentum shift. I guess so. All Miami in the first when they led 7-0. All Florida State in the second, and now they lead by 10. You know what? Miami doesn't spend much time being behind in ball games.
No, and they're in shock right now.
Yeah, and so's the crowd.
Yeah. They've won 27 straight games. Dorsey is 31-1.
They haven't even had a first down, Grease, since the final minute of the first quarter. It's been 3 and out. Dorsey across the middle. Winslow bobbled it. Caught it a second time.
Boy,
concentration.
That could have been picked off.
Yep.
If the defensive man would have been close enough. But
Kellen stayed with it, and he got a first down.
Miami's last 4 possessions, they've had 3 punts and a fumble. Yeah, he runs like a receiver, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Just shaded across the 30. First down. Out of the backfield, McGahee thinking about where he was going and didn't take the ball with him. And it's incomplete, and Dorsey again got hit by Alonzo Jackson. Kenny probably hasn't had this much grass stains on those white pants in a long time.
Yeah, he didn't get hit much last year.
4 sacks all of last year.
Been sacked 5 times this year coming into today's game.
And Jackson's made his presence known.
That was a good hit.
Yep.
Kenny should have stepped up. Instead of hanging back, should have stepped up. There was some room to step up in the pocket.
The Heisman candidate is 8 of 19 for 150 yards, but he's thrown an interception. And this time, screen pass the other way. McGahee lost his footing this time, or he might have ripped off a long one there.
Carlos Joseph, the left tackle, is having all kinds of problems with Alonzo Jackson, the defensive end.
Uh-oh, McGahee limping off. And that's going to put Jason Geathers in at the tailback spot.
Yeah, that's not good.
He'll flank Dorsey right now in a passing situation anyway. 3rd down and 5 over the middle. There's Winslow, the tight end. First down. So Kellen Winslow back-to-back first down catches on this drive. And he's been the main man today in the aerial game for Miami. Again, you saw McGahee over there on the bench. Got up limping after that screen pass.
Winslow came in as the leading receiver with 16. He's caught 4 here today.
Here's Geathers, the backup tailback, and he cuts outside. And he might have a first down. A little bit short maybe, but he got it to midfield. Jason Geathers, a guy that's bounced back and forth. He was a tailback when he came in. He played wide receiver last year. When Frank Gore got hurt and McGahee became the starter, they needed some backup there, and so he's moved back to running back. And had a nice one there. So it's going to be 2nd down and about a yard. They have not yet moved the down marker. I don't know why. Finally, they're going to run it into position right at the midfield stripe. Dorsey, quick toss. Oh boy, almost intercepted. Leroy Smith.
Smith could have had 2 of them.
Yep. Andre Johnson, the intended receiver. Swanee.
Bob and Brad, this is a highly unusual situation for Miami to be in under Larry Coker, because he has not lost the first half of any ball game since 2000 when he played against Washington. It's been unbelievable.
Wow.
And of all the halves he's lost, he's only lost 6. They've only been the second half of those football games when they've had big leads.
So they are in unfamiliar territory. That's what we were talking about earlier. A very odd spot for the defending national champions. Timeout taken by the defense. Florida State takes a timeout with 1:22 remaining, and Miami's got 2 timeouts left. Florida State's done with their timeouts. They're thinking right now stuffing them here and forcing them to give it back.
Yeah.
Well, one double agent reaches a turning point as the 2 men in her heart meet for the first time. In an elevator, no less. You can't get away from a guy like that. It's a new Alias tomorrow. 9, 8 Central right here on ABC. Mickey Andrews' team has played as well as we've seen him play in a while.
Well, especially when you consider how poorly they've played in some of the ball games. Watch the cornerback on the right. He reads that all the way. You see, before the receiver even broke, he was breaking forward. He read the quarterback. The 3-step drop. Now, what that tells me, what they should do is come back and do a little stop and go.
Right.
Have Dorsey come out and set short. Have the defensive back come up and let the receiver run right by him.
McGahee has come back in, so he's all right. And now Sands was part of the group. He comes out. It's Beard and Johnson and Winslow. Beard down to the right. Johnson up to the top of your screen. On a 3rd down and short. McGahee who gets the call. He's got the first down. And he's down to the 46-yard line. Picked up a 5. And they'll move the sticks, temporarily stopping the clock with 1:17 remaining in the first half.
Pick up the first down. Stop the clock. Keep moving. Miami's got 2 timeouts left.
And they called 2 plays during that last break. So now they go back to a 3 wide out grouping. And it's Dorsey on first down. Throws out. Bird's got it. At about the 30. That's another Hurricane first down in front of Malcolm Tatum, the cornerback. And right up to the line they come again. Now this is where it helps to have a senior quarterback.
Oh, for sure.
He's directing traffic like crazy out there. And now he will take a timeout.
And he knows he's got enough time and enough timeouts that he can use one right there.
Now they're down to 1 timeout remaining. But plenty of time, as Bob said. 1:05 remaining. And trying to find any kind of points here to close the gap before halftime.
Obviously a key drive. If Miami can get in and score, they're only down 17-14. And Florida State says, hey, let's keep them out and go in with a 10-point lead at halftime.
Our aerial shots courtesy of Goodyear. We'd like to remind you to take all of life's journeys on the wings of Goodyear. Nice day to fly.
Beautiful day.
And a good football game so far. Surprising most people, I think. You know, so many people have asked us this week, can anybody even touch Miami? Can anybody stay with Miami? Bobby Bowden, whether he was kind of doing a sandbag job or whatever, when he talked to us, said, you know, I think there's Miami, and then there's the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
He thought they were at a different level.
Yeah.
And I think most people around the country thought the same thing. But
well, everybody's saying that this Miami team is better than last year's Miami team.
Come on.
No way.
No way. Not yet.
No way. You can't lose 11 starters and 5 first-round draft picks and be better than that team was halfway through the following season.
So Miami took over their own 20 with 2:29 left. And now they're the 9th play of the march with a first down at the 30. Dorsey from the gun. Has all day to throw. Deep middle. Got it to Beard. Another first down. It looks, ball came loose at the end.
They're saying he was down.
He was down. Kendall Pope covered it. Let's see, is it first and goal or is it just shaded outside the 10? It's right on the 10. It's first and goal. Miami. Hoping they're on their way into the end zone with the clock winding under a minute. 3 wide outs. Geathers, little draw play out of the shotgun and got maybe 2 yards. And the clock at 45 seconds and working its way down. Still plenty of time. Miami still has a timeout left. And they're second down and goal at the 8-yard line.
What's going on?
The officials have stopped play. There's a flag in the end zone, which I didn't see until now, in the right-hand corner. And I have no idea when that was thrown even. It was a draw play, and where the flag was thrown is about 30 yards away from the play. Unless Florida State had too many guys on the field. Well, we'll find out right now. Let us know, Courtney.
I think you got it.
Patient on the defense. 12 men on the field. Half the distance. Repeat first down.
They were subbing defensive players in, and I saw one come in late and nobody went off.
So that moves it to the 5.
Good job by the officials to catch it.
Andre Johnson looks like single coverage up there on top, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. First and goal. Dorsey. End zone broken up. Claudius Osei is the guy that made the play. Kevin Beard, the intended receiver. Well, that stops things with 34 seconds left.
The throw to the right side should be coming in the frame right there. Threw it behind him a little bit. The reason you do that because you don't know what's coming from the inside.
3 wideouts to the left. Now Geathers comes back to the right. 2 each way for Dorsey. Second and goal at the 5. Dorsey steps up, fires, touchdown, Kellen Winslow.
Was it? No.
No, he's out of bounds. I thought he had 1 foot down. Incomplete.
Instead of coming straight across, as we just did in the passing playbook, he was going downfield a little bit, and by the time the ball got to him, he was out of the end zone. Now you want to run a parallel to the back end of the end zone. Come straight across. Nope. Out of bounds.
Had he been on the ball of that foot, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
But his heel was down. Good call by the officials. Now third and goal.
You got 1 shot and then you kick a field goal.
Dorsey throws, touchdown this time, same target. This time it's good for a score. Dorsey to Winslow, 5-yard touchdown. Those guys got something going on, don't they?
Well, when you trust the receiver, I mean, you know, when a guy can get open and he can catch, and you trust him, that's pretty good stuff there.
And a pretty good ball game. Seaver's extra point is good. With 26 seconds left in the half, it's 17-14, Florida State.
Big drive by Miami.
80 yards,
to
Bob.
come back and answer. It's almost like they were in shock, the offense. These 2 receivers run him off, and here's Winslow. He just got to run a little bit of hook to the outside. Tight end releases, gets in the end zone, and throws it, drilling as soon as he gets in. That's a short throw inside. That's
a touchdown. Goes right back to number 81. Different play, different result. Kenny Dorsey.
Yeah.
He's liking it. That's his 15th touchdown pass of the year.
And his 4th to Winslow. He had Shockey, Jeremy Shockey last year. You know, you like those tight ends inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, because they're close to you. They're going to get open over the middle, and it's not a long throw, and you can just drill it just like Dorsey did.
Let's see if Severs chooses to kind of squib this kick down, because Leon Washington and Profanzo Thorpe on the other end would love to do what Washington did earlier this year, 97 yards for a touchdown on a kick return. It's a high pooch kick. Thorpe's got a shot at it from the 15, though. And nice coverage. He goes down at about the 18-yard line. Carl Walker down there on the special teams to make the stop.
I can hear Bobby right now talking to Chris Ricks. Says, son, go out there, take a knee. Let's all go in and have a lemonade.
That's exactly right.
A little lemonade. We'll come back out and beat these boys in the second half.
Bobby may go in for a quick yogurt. He's also lost a considerable amount of weight in the last year.
Making notes there to remind him what he wants to talk about at halftime.
So 20 seconds left, and they will hand off. I'm surprised they do, but Greg Jones busts it outside. This is going to add to his totals. Out to the 37-yard line. 13 seconds remaining in the half. Yeah, any kind of exchange. I was a little bit surprised there. But Jones, 134 on the ground in the first half.
Yeah, Miami defensively coming into the ball game only gave up an average of 116 yards on the ground.
They were just going to give one more taste to Greg Jones and then let the clock run out. It's been a tasty first half for Greg Jones.
Well, it's still a very hot and humid day. These guys are going to be tired in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be whoever's in best shape when we get back.
Florida State trying to pull the upset. Swannies with the leading coach.
Coach Bowden, a couple of questions. First of all, your team's picked up about 20 yards on offsides penalty. Is it something you saw in film, or is it something your quarterback's doing out there?
Well, we have that prepared every game to do that. If somebody tries to read our snap count, and they're probably pretty good at reading your snap count.
The big difference in your offense today, is it just the confidence or is it the execution?
Well, I think our offensive line is playing good, being able to tie up there, making our running game go. But sooner or later we're going to have some catches because they're going to start bringing those safeties up there, you know. But right now we've been able to block their front.
Last question. Kellen Winslow, 81. He's been able to make a lot of catches on your team. How do you stop him in the second half?
Well, we're simply going to have to get on top of him. We'll assign somebody to him, but tight ends, anybody that knows Florida State knows tight ends have hurt us, and he's just another one hurting us.
Coach, thank you. See you in the second half. Brad?
Honest words from a coach leading at halftime. Trying to pull an upset, 17-14 Florida State. A good one going in Miami. Valvoline halftime show from Times Square Stadium in New York. Let's head there now with John and Terry. The rivalry couldn't get much hotter, and neither could the day. Back at the Orange Bowl in Miami, and at halftime the 12th ranked team in the country is leading the defending champions. 17-14 is our halftime score, and this is how it used to be. This is like the game a couple of years ago before Miami had the drive that came down to the end, and it was Dorsey to Shockey, the touchdown, and the Miami's won 2 straight. Last year it was a hammer job. Florida State came to play ball, Bob.
Well, Florida State is not intimidated by these Hurricanes. I mean, they've played high school football with them. They've gone to school with them. They've played against them every year. They are not going to be intimidated. Say, hey, you got to come out here and beat us. We don't have any respect for you. We're going to take it to you.
And that's what Greg Jones did in the first half, taking it to the opposition. He doesn't take many hits. He gives some hits out, like right there on the safeties of Miami. And Kellen Winslow's been the star in the other direction. A diving 27-yard grab that set up a 1st and goal that got him down close in the first quarter. But then late in the second quarter, it was Dorsey to Kellen Winslow Jr. and touchdown, and that's what cut the lead to 17-14.
Well, you say late. Miami scored on its first possession and its last possession of the first half.
And a whole bunch of 3 and outs in between, courtesy of the Florida State defense.
And 2 turnovers, an interception, and a fumble.
There's Winslow's numbers. And his daddy's got to be proud of what he's seen so far. We're hoping Kellen, he's probably working today, doing much of what we do, but I'm sure he's catching a glimpse of this. Gathers from about the 3. And number 3 heading for the corner. Got out across the 35. Bryant McFadden might have saved a touchdown there. Let's check in with Lynn.
Well, I talked to Larry Coker as he came on the field, and he said, yes, definitely, we've got to stop Florida State's running game. We got to just get off the blocks and make tackles. He said, telling his team in the locker room at halftime that they're in good shape to play this ball game. They don't have to worry about things. They just have to go out and execute, and also keep in mind, no, he's never been behind in the first half of a ball game. But in 4 or 5 ball games this year, they scored on the first possession of the second half.
That we will watch, my friend, as McGahee goes up the middle to the 40, maybe the 41 even. Our Pacific Life game summary. Statistically, in the first half, look at that rushing difference, and then the passing flips over to the other side.
Yeah, Miami's getting it done through the air. Florida State has 188 rushing yards. Miami with a lot of penalties.
2nd down and 6 for the Canes, and whoops, again an exchange problem between Romberg and Dorsey, and a penalty marker down. They better get that act together.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5 yards.
So
2nd down.
Backs it up to 2nd down and 11. We mentioned earlier that Dorsey and Romberg are roommates, kind of an odd couple. I said, who's the slob and who's the clean one? He said, well, he says, I don't have much there. Most of the stuff is Romberg's. And he said the only one time it gets messy is when his dog and my cat fight. And Romberg's got a Rottweiler. And Kenny's got a cat. Here's a run. McGahee in the open field. And Willis into Florida State territory. DJ Ward brought him down, but he ripped it off for 17 yards.
Good blocking on the right side of the offensive line. That's Myers and Kelly. McGahee just scooting through there. He sees Jones on the other side getting some yardage. He says, hey, I want to get some of that stuff.
He's a nice package of power and speed in his own right. 1st down at the 48-yard line of Florida State now. So as Swanee said, they know what to do with the first possession of the 3rd quarter, and right now they're doing it so far. Play action for Dorsey. Wants it all. Going deep for Johnson. Intercepted by Kyler Hall. A diving interception by the sophomore safety.
It's a bad throw because the safety was in the center of the field the whole way. Kyler Hall, who has been out of position a couple of times in the last few games, didn't play well against Clemson, but Mickey Andrews said, he's our guy. We got to go with him. There he is making a huge interception. Kyler Hall.
Pretty catch. Special team standout last year, and now a starter, and stretching out just in front of Johnson.
Dorsey didn't check the free safety. He played the play action away from him, hoping that Kyler Hall would be pulled to the wide side and threw back, but he wasn't there.
So Dorsey with 2 interceptions today. Remember, it was Ricks with 4 last year. Here's Jones, cut back. And he's out again to meet a safety at about the 21-yard line, Sean Taylor.
It's amazing. A guy as big as he is, 250 pounds, with the feet that he has.
Yeah, you just slid away from that tackle.
Yeah, he stopped, slid around. And he's patient. He's very patient. You know, the best big runner, the patient runner that I ever saw was Larry Zonka. He was huge, but yet he'd take his time, and he had good feet, very similar to Jones, Greg Jones.
So a 2nd down and short. Chris Ricks trying to be heard. Jones again. This time they're draped all over him. William Joseph, the first man to meet him. And that will bring up 3rd down.
Bob and Brad, Chris Ricks came up to that line of scrimmage, and he took a full 8 seconds behind that center, trying to draw them off sides as he did in the first half. Then he glanced up and saw he had about 6 seconds on the clock and got that play off in a hurry.
You can bet that Randy Shannon told his guys at halftime, we can't keep giving up those 5-yard chunks. 3rd down. There's the play clock again. A long 2 to go. Jones, not this time. Well, 2nd effort. Got him closer, but I think he's short. Jonathan Vilma holding on for dear life.
I think the other thing offensively for the teams that play Miami, they want to run that clock down to take time off the clock.
Most teams have tried that have played them in the last year and a half or so. Matt Walters fired up, so's the crowd now, because the defense, and there's the head coach giving his defense some credit because they stopped him and stopped Jones to a 4th down situation. So Chance Gwaltney will have to kick. Roscoe Parrish is the deep man. Kick hangs up in the air. Parrish takes it to 24. Made one man miss. But the coverage is there to meet him after a short return. So the Hurricanes who gave it up by an interception, the second of the day, thrown by Kenny Dorsey. Their defense stiffens, and they'll have the ball when we come back. The Canes defensive line cooled off Florida State and gives it back to their offense. That might be a lateral. Nope, they're going to say incomplete pass. Trying to swing it out there in the flat, actually the slot, to Roscoe Parrish. It ended up in the flat on the ricochet out by McGahee, incomplete.
You know, that little pass just shows that the Miami is off just a little bit. Either Dorsey is off with that receiver, because I mean that was a pass they complete 99% of the time. It was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. You had 4 guys out there. You're throwing to the back guy, and they missed that one. So Miami's off a little bit right now.
And almost a fumble. The pitch to McGahee. They ran that play in practice on Thursday. It almost looks like a little bit of an option, but it worked a lot better than that in practice. First of all, Dorsey mishandles the snap a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. He just mishandles the snap. He and Romberg are having problems today just getting the snap.
They're fighting like they're cats and dogs.
You know what it was? I don't think the fullback got out of the way quickly enough, so he had a clean path to pitch the ball.
So he had a double clutch there.
Yeah.
Now it's 3rd down and 7. 3 wideouts for Dorsey. Kenny with a quick throw and got it complete. It's been his favorite guy, Kellen Winslow. 1st down.
The Boulware was all over him.
He tucked that one in there pretty tight.
Yeah, it was covered. He just got it in there. And like I say, here's Winslow. He's just going to come and break to the outside, and the defensive linebacker Boulware is right there to cover him. Now look at this coverage.
Yep.
I mean, he still catches the ball.
Winslow 6 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Up the middle, McGahee dropped for a loss again. Travis Johnson this time defensively for Florida State on the bottom.
Yeah, that's just a slow developing play. It's kind of a misdirection. And Travis Johnson just beats the center of the offensive line and gets in there and says, hey, you ain't getting away with this. This is just, it's too slow.
Long-time defensive coordinator Mickey Andrews.
One of the best.
3 wide receivers for Dorsey. Out of the shotgun. On a comeback and out of the hands of Perry. Hit him right about where the 1 is, but he couldn't hold it.
Yeah, they're just off a little bit. You know, and you got to give credit to Florida State defensively. You know, they're coming up, sticking them, hitting them.
You got to make that catch.
Oh, it's right there.
Yep.
The ball is right where it needs to be.
So now it puts Dorsey in a long 3rd down again. Most of that success on 3rd down conversions was in the 1st quarter. This is 3rd and 14. Johnson, Sands, and Beard, the wide receivers. Dorsey has to step up in the pocket, crossing pattern to Johnson. He's just buried in his tracks at the original line of scrimmage by Brian McFadden, who trailed him all the way across and made the stop.
Yeah, if you're going to hit a crossing route, if it's 3rd and 13 and you're going to hit a crossing route, you better stick that ball right in his hand so he can catch it and keep running. If it's a little behind him, like this one is, it ain't gonna matter. Coming across, they threw it behind him. He had to reach it, catch it. He's going to get hit there.
Capshaw's punt. Leon Washington has to let it go. Looked up in the sun, and great job by the coverage unit to get down there. Sean Taylor downs a 50-yard punt. Dead at about the 3. Coming up, don't forget doubleheader action, and you're going to see a good one no matter what part of the country you're living in, because it's going to be number 2 Texas and number 3 Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. Others of you will see Penn State and Michigan, or Oregon and UCLA. So Big 12, Big 10, Pac-10 on display in our doubleheader coming up right here at ABC.
Showdown weekend.
Yes, it is.
There's some good ball games.
And right now, Florida State is down inside its own 5-yard line. 1st down from the 4. Nice sidestep by Jones and busts the tackle, still on his feet, and he's out to the 12-yard line.
I tell you, that offensive line for Florida State is doing a nice job with that defensive line, the one we're talking about being the best in the country. The two Williams boys, Brent and Todd, Marambo is the center, Holland and Willis doing a nice job up front. Take a look at the blocking. There's Marambo, 52, just not doing anything, just push positioning. The middle linebacker.
Jones had 165 yards against Clemson, 173 against Virginia, and he's over 150 here early in the third quarter. Maddox comes in to give him a breather. Nick Maddox broke a tackle from Walters, looking for a block. Little stutter step. This is a lot of running, but he got a first down.
Give me some oxygen.
Man. Maddox with a first down. John Saunders with a report in New York. John?
We hope I don't have to travel that much real estate to get this one done in this update. North Carolina against NC State. Darian Durant, 5 yards to James Faison, in for the touchdown. North Carolina on top, but Phillip Rivers comes back from a yard out. The point after was blocked, so this one remains close. NC State unbeaten, but down by 4. Brad.
And Coach Bunting trying to get everybody to wear Carolina blue in Kenan Stadium in that one today. Here's the fade. Ricks got it out there, complete. Anquan Bolden finally makes a catch, his first. But it's out to the 43-yard line, first down. And again, picking on that side.
Yeah, this is a much better throw. What they came in doing, throwing the bump and run to the wide side. Fake to the inside. Ricks throws it long and to the outside. Jennings never sees it. That's the game plan. Throw it quick. No 7-step drops.
That pass was perfect. Right where it had to be. And he knew it.
He's getting some confidence now. The touchdown pass in the first half in the second quarter, and then now he's getting some confidence.
Starting to play like the kid that was ACC Freshman of the Year last season. Now the handoff to Maddox, and again Maddox finds room on the right side. Vilma missed a tackle. Maddox made another couple miss, and he might have another first down. That change of pace. Maddox first blasts away, and then they get Maddox in there.
Yeah.
Jones rather blasts away, and then Maddox.
Good point. I mean, just poor tackling. I mean, Maddox is jumping around and dancing around. He's making a miss with all the jukes. And Jones, he makes a miss with all the power. They hit him, but he doesn't come down.
Remember, a hot day, whether you're using 8 defensive linemen or not. Walters almost fell into the neutral zone again. First down, Florida State at the Miami 47-yard line. Here comes the big fella again. Puts his shoulder down. Even when they tackle him, he sort of makes them pay, and they have to readjust their chin straps, and then they find out it's 4 yards downfield.
Yeah, they're always falling forward. No matter if they get hit at the line of scrimmage or 1 yard down. Watch them. They're always falling forward. They're always going forward, yeah.
Jeff Bowden told us that he told Greg Jones after the Louisville game, he said, you know what, if you keep your feet moving, it's kind of hard to bring you down. It sure is.
Look what Miami's doing. They got 7 guys in here to try and stop the run. And as long as they have 7 guys, they're going to continue running the football. There's 2 safeties back on the left side. They're saying, those are playing pass defense. We're going to run as long as you play 7.
This time they stopped those feet. They got down low and wrapped him up below the knees. Will Fork and Clark in there to make the hit, and it's going to bring up third down.
And Miami is saying, we can stop you with 7. And then with safety, one of the safeties is going to come up late. But that's the game that they're playing right now. Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator, thinks that his front 7 can stop their run.
Third down and 5. 7th play of the Seminole drive with 6 minutes remaining third quarter. From the shotgun. Ricks, slant to Bolden, first down to the 32-yard line. And so Anquan Bolden has 2 catches on this drive. And there was a good example of hitting a guy in stride.
Here he is right here, and he's just going to run a little slant. It's an easy throw to catch. Just Bolden just comes off the line. Now he gets inside, and look at all the room in here that he gets the ball to him.
And that's what you were talking about, is when you hit a guy in stride on one of those kind of patterns, you get positive yardage.
Exactly. Don't throw it behind him.
At the 32, Florida State up by a field goal. Maddox Clark again, the linebacker, along with DJ Williams, the other outside backer, making the stop. So Maddox and well, Jones is way over 100, but Maddox is sort of heading that way. He's got 64 yards on the ground.
You got to hand it to that offensive line. A lot of the backs have made a lot of guys miss.
Yep.
But that offensive line is getting them started.
2nd down and 9. Maddox stops in the hole. John Vilma was there to meet him in the hole. Short gain is going to bring up 3rd down again.
Bob and Brad, you're talking about the offensive line of Florida State. I think you got to give some special credit to number 79, Todd Williams. Todd Williams was the offensive tackle last year, but due to injuries, they moved him inside to the strong guards position. Now, for all those folks at home that say, well, he's still on the offensive line, that's not a big deal. That's a big change for a guy, especially in a tough ball game. He's switching from side to side. It's easy to get confused in the hero battle, make a mistake, but he is hanging tough in this ball game.
There he is, all 330 pounds of him. 3rd and 5, and the crowd at the Orange Bowl comes to life for the defense. Jones, though.
Oh, he had it.
He had it, but he tripped in the hole, and he's short of the 1st down. Let's check in at Times Square Stadium, John.
Goes around the end and takes it in, and NC State back on top, 20-17, about 7 to go in the 3rd quarter. Brad.
Florida State will try to add to its lead here. Xavier Beitia hit a 45-yarder earlier in the game. This will be a 42-yard field goal attempt. Kick on the way, and he's got another one. Perfect from outside of 40 again.
The kid doesn't know the history of this.
No, he doesn't.
Series.
Don't tell him yet. 3:25 to go, 3rd quarter. 20-14. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And Tostitos Scoops, the dip lovers chip. Dig in. Right now, Miami's trying to say, this is my house, and you got to go, but Florida State's not listening.
Yeah, and if you're a Hurricane fan, it's time to start worrying a little bit. Hurricanes have turned the ball over 3 times. 2 interceptions by Dorsey and a fumble. And Florida State is getting stronger as this game goes on.
Yes, they are. You can see their confidence growing, and they will bring this one out. Gathers from the end zone, and he probably shouldn't have. He's planted at the 14-yard line by Sam McGrew on the special teams. Our Nissan drive summary. Florida State doing well to go 72 yards. 5 minutes and 26 seconds, 11 plays. They mixed it up nicely. Bolden caught a couple. Jones and Maddox both ripped off some runs, and then Beitia hit the 42-yard field goal. That's where we are, 20-14.
Nice drive, and the field goal kicker Beitia, he has been outstanding for Florida State all year. He's just a sophomore. He's hit what's he hit now? He's hit 13 of 15.
13 of 15,
yeah.
Right. Dorsey off play action, flushed out of the pocket again. On the run, overshot Andre Johnson, who was open. But Dorsey was running for his life and couldn't find him.
Yeah, and I think you can count on your right hand the number of times Dorsey has crossed the line of scrimmage, scrambling. Not many.
Penalty marker down. Kenny hadn't been sacked today, but he's been knocked around after letting go of the ball, that's for sure. And talking over with Kendall Pope, the defensive captain, the options here. I think they're going to take him back toward the goal line here and take this penalty.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the pass on the offense. 5 yards, previous spot, repeat, first down.
2 tight ends set now coming in for Miami, and one guy might as well be a tackle. Freshman. It's in the Jeremy Shockey mold, only bigger. 6'7", 270. Freshman.
True freshman. Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
He's in motion. Here's McGahee wrapping both arms around the football across the 15 out to the original line of scrimmage and then maybe another yard. Darrell Hudson made the tackle.
You know, when you get down to this third quarter, the fourth quarter, this thing may favor a little bit Florida State. They've been in some battles this year, and in fact have lost a game to Louisville up in that rainstorm. Miami's had it easy. They haven't had any battles into the fourth quarter.
Bobby Bowden told us we want to keep it close and make them play a close game because they haven't had one yet. Well, they got a close one. They're behind. 2nd and 9. Dorsey fires, flag down again at the line of scrimmage. That one nowhere near his intended receiver, and the natives are getting a little restless. Again, a penalty marker at the line. And it's against Miami. And they're in double digits in penalties. Something that's been a problem for them. It's their 12th penalty.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 men moving at the same time. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
This one's declined, bringing up a 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, you know, Larry Coker right now, he's thinking, you know, his quarterback is not sharp today. He's had a couple of nice drives, but his quarterback has thrown a lot of balls off target. And if you don't have that guy in there, Kenny Dorsey, making this team move, you got a lot of talent around him, but he's a little off today.
Still a low delivery, but Johnson, I think, scooped this one up. He did. 1st down.
He needs some guys to start making some plays. He's not off on every throw. I've seen a lot of drops here, too.
I don't think I've seen Kenny this shaky till that start out at Washington, Bob, and that's the last time they lost a ball game.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Boy, a nice catch.
The ball was a little low and outside where it really needed to be, away from the defender.
Well, 1st down at the 32. 2:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Parrish in motion. Pump fake one way and going back to Parrish the other. He got him on the fly. Parrish trying to break a tackle all the way to the 15-yard line. Flag down back at the 30. Oh boy,
it's coming
back.
Yeah.
The fans don't even know it yet.
And that's a killer.
All for naught. 53-yard hookup.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
That's a killer.
This one will be obviously accepted and will become officially the 12th penalty. Here's the call.
Chop block on the offense. 10 yards. Previous spot. Repeat 1st down.
Negates a long play down to the 15-yard line.
I think they called a chop block on the fullback on the defensive end. Watch as he's going to go throw, and he just... That's awful close. I don't see any other chop blocks. I mean, he hits him around the waist. You cannot go around their knees.
Well, he missed it basically, didn't he? If it's the second one. McGahee was the second guy there that threw what looked like the lower of the 2 blocks, but he came up with wind. He missed him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a close call.
Normally you see that on end arounds and that type of thing. You don't see that call in that situation very often, if ever.
That was a big call, though. Big play for Miami is called back.
1st and 25, and McGahee back across the 20 to the 21.
Now this is when it tests the character of an offense. You get something downfield, you finally get a play, you're behind, we're going to go down tied up, they take it away from you.
Yep.
And Bob, what I saw from Miami after that play, instead of seeing someone take control and say, all right, let's keep our heads focused, I saw a lot of heads down, shaking, going back to the huddle.
Yeah, I think they're tired.
It's hot. We've talked about it. It's hard to relate if you're sitting somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere where it's 50 degrees, but this is like a preseason game in the NFL. It's hot. And some tired bodies out there. The pass intended for Beard is incomplete.
And when you're tired, you just don't do everything you have to do. Dorsey rolled to his left, saw the receiver, and just said, I'm going to throw it, but he's just not on. Just not as sharp as he normally is.
And that's 3rd down and a mile. And all of a sudden, that's the first time I've heard it today. I hear the Florida State war chant in the background. At the 21-yard line, there's the numbers on 3rd down today. They've been very, very good for Kenny Dorsey. 3 receivers to his left. He's looking down the middle and got it in the seam, but dropped by Sands. Hit him in the hands. Somebody's got to make a play. You can look at Kenny Dorsey's stats tomorrow in the paper all you want, but somebody's got to hold on to some of these.
Short-armed him. He was worried about getting hit. It's tough to pick up 3rd down when it's that long. But the ball was right on the money.
Freddie Capshaw's been a busy, busy punter. Probably been years since he kicked it 6 times in a game, and he almost had that one blocked.
They were going for it then.
And it takes a Florida State bounce. The Noles will be in hurricane territory on offense with a 6-point lead at the Orange Bowl when we come back. I think Bob alluded to it earlier. It's a whole lot cooler when you're winning. That's a hot sideline and an unfamiliar position for the defending national champions. They're behind. It's almost the 4th quarter. They're not used to people pressing them. And Florida State's not only pressing, they're leading by 6.
Another great field position start for the Seminoles.
Best of the day at the 46-yard line. Play action. Ricks might want it all. Down the middle, incomplete. Intended for Nick Maddox out of the backfield as we check in at Times Square Stadium. Here's John.
Houston Nutt of Arkansas looking to go 4-1 against Auburn, and Mark Pierce gives him a boost here. Takes off 44 yards. There was a flag on the play, but it was against Auburn. And so Arkansas has upped the lead to 31-17, Brett.
Should have been a flag on the play for slow running. But it's a touchdown either way. 2nd and 10. Jones, the tailback, gets the call again. This time trying to cut back, and Miami won't let him. Will Fort, number 75, the big fella, getting a hand up from his teammate, is the guy that made the first hit.
Miami has won the last 2 games of this series, but before that, Florida State had won the last 5. Miami went up to Florida State last year and ended a bunch of streaks, the home winning streaks and all that other stuff for Florida State. Now the Seminoles are down here trying to end some streaks for Miami.
A re-streak could be happening at the Orange Bowl. Into 3 quarters. And at the end of 3, Florida State trying to pull an upset. 15 minutes left. They lead 20-14. ABC Sports presentation of college football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. A 3rd down to start the 4th quarter for Florida State in Miami territory. Just outside the 46-yard line of the Canes. Chris Ricks in the shotgun. Ricks in trouble. He'll run out of it. Whoop. Up and over, but not far enough, and he's hurt. He did this last year in a ball game in the end zone. Tried it here and got stung pretty good.
Yeah, he came down on his head.
And he's going back down. There is a penalty marker on the play. Sykes and Vilma are the guys that hit Chris Ricks. The end of that scramble up the middle.
Oh, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty and a 1st down.
I don't know where the unsportsmanlike conduct was, but
not in there.
Not in that picture.
He landed on his neck on the side of his head. That's just dangerous. I mean, they're teaching quarterbacks to slide to protect yourself. Chris is doing just the opposite. He's going airborne.
He's got that Clark Kent thing going on. And Andrew McPherson's coming in. Whether it's one play or the rest of the way, we know Chris Ricks will be heading out. And you can see the concern on the whole team there as they rally around their quarterback. And they've got him sitting up now.
Well, at least he's got to be a little bit woozy from the way he hit, and then looking at him when he was trying to get up.
And he's had a concussion this year already. Again, he pulls it down, decides to take it straight up the middle, then tries to go over Vilma. And he's walking off, and he's pointing over to the Florida State band.
Yeah, he may have gotten the wind knocked out of him. He may have come down and just got the wind knocked out.
He pointed over to where most of the garnet and gold clad fans in the band are, over in that far corner, and they erupted over there for him, and that's got to be a nice sound to his ears compared to what he had in the last home game. So now it's McPherson, and it's a first down after the penalty. Jones trying to drag orange jerseys with him, but they swarm him and bring him down.
You know, the last time this happened against Clemson last week, he didn't get back in for a while.
Here he comes.
Here he comes.
One play.
He had to have the wind knocked out of him. But
Chris, lucky that's all he got knocked out.
We need to start sliding, not jumping. It's almost the reverse of the Fosbury flop or something.
Right.
He's going head first sometimes.
Second down and 9. Will he throw one play after being on the sideline?
Well, Miami has 7 in the box. They're probably going to run it.
It's a toss. Jones. But again, Vilma. The middle linebackers there. Pickup of 3. John Vilma with the stop as we take a stop here to head to New York and John Saunders.
Brad, Miami in jeopardy of losing their first game of the year, and NC State trying to avoid that same fate against Carolina. Rivers goes to Brian Peterson. 13 yards, and they up the lead to 10 at 27-17. The fourth quarter just underway. Brad.
Phillip Rivers, one of the highest rated passers in the country. Got a funny motion sometimes too, but he just wins ball games also.
Yeah.
And timeout taken by Florida State with 13:01 to play. They'll talk it over on the sideline. We'll talk it over and be back in a moment. And as you await our doubleheader, who knows, maybe the winner of Oklahoma and Texas will be in the driver's seat next. Number 1 Miami's long winning streak is in jeopardy. Florida State leads 20-14, 13:01 left. Here's the play where Chris Ricks again scrambled up the middle, was injured for one play at least, but the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at the end of the play is what gave Florida State its first down. But now they face 3rd and 6.
They started on Miami's 46-yard line, and 15 yards of penalties have moved them down here.
Maddox flares out of the backfield. Quarterback draw. Chris Ricks trying to get it up inside and got it for a first down. Big first down.
The confidence that we talked about Chris Ricks needing in the opening is developing through this ball game, and you see it right here. They motion one of the backs out of the backfield to take a linebacker with him. The safeties come up and don't make the play soon enough. First down, Seminoles.
Second time Chris has rushed for a first down on 3rd down. And now it's at the 13-yard line of Miami. A touchdown here would be huge.
You got to throw it. You got to fade here.
Jones, DJ Williams just kind of trying to hang on for dear life.
You got 10 guys in the box there. You ain't going to run against that. That's why there was paired up one-on-one outside. I thought they'd throw the fade.
I think Chris is still kind of moving his head around a little bit, trying to get a good feeling back, if you will, after that crash landing that he had. And it's going to be second down. They can get a first down inside the 3. Even a field goal makes it a 2-score game for Miami. Jones straight up the middle. Touchdown.
The offensive line is huge. Doing a great job of just smothering these guys.
11 yards for Jones.
Montre Holland just eating him up.
Bobby Bowden puts the headphones away, at least for now. Beitia in for the point after. Trying to make it 27-14, and does. I mentioned Greg Jones earlier with the big games that he's had this year against Clemson and Virginia. This is his biggest so far, 175 yards, the last one an 11-yard touchdown. .27 carries, 175 yards.
Watch here is Holland, the left guard, is just going to eat him up. Now look at the hole that is created there. Holland on the left, 61, going against Wilfork. That's two 350-pounders going like two sumo wrestlers. Right to the left there. Marambo gets a good block. Todd Williams gets a good block. Vilma just ran himself out of the hole, the middle linebacker.
The big eaters eating things up. You talk all you want about the great defensive line of Miami, but it's the offensive line of Florida State that apparently has heard enough of that too.
But you know what? I think everybody's tired, and then it just dig deep. You know, who wants it the most?
Now, top-ranked Miami, the defending national champions, have got their work seriously cut out for them. They are 13 points behind with less than 12 minutes to play. They no longer can afford the bungles and the misplays that they've had in this second half, including drop passes. You take back some of the drop passes in this half, and it might be a whole different ballgame.
Illegal procedure. The kicking team will put the ball in play on the 35-yard line.
So good field position for Miami to start with. Our Pacific Life game summary, and here's what we were talking about. In this half, here's Roscoe Parrish. Hits him right in the one, and he fumbled it out of bounds. Kenny Dorsey crossing pattern. Beard couldn't hold it. Then he goes down to Sands, and Sands should have had that one. Those are just some of the problems.
That doesn't even show the long pass down the sideline to Roscoe Parrish.
That got called back.
On a penalty.
And now Dorsey will work from the gun and under the gun. Skip that one off his intended receiver. Gathers out of the backfield, and again Dorsey will come out of a pile of white jerseys. Swanee.
Well, Brett, I'm with Bryant McKinney. Of 5 Miami football players drafted in the first round, he was first among them in the 7th round, the 7th player chosen. Now, Bryant, kind of an odd position for you to be in. You played on this team last year. The Vikings haven't signed you. How are you feeling about being able to just watching football?
Real anxious to get out there and play. Coming watching this game to hurt, and I think Miami pulled through though, but it's making me real anxious to go out there and play.
Well, as we watch him on this play, Dorsey throwing it downfield, a little bit off today. The offensive line is in a real battle. What's going through their heads right now? These are your teammates last year.
Right now, they're just trying to stay together as a unit. Complete one play at a time. You know, don't rush anything. Don't get down because you're down by 2 touchdowns or whatever. You know what I mean? Just stay focused, keep on driving. That's it.
This is a confident football team.
Definitely.
Okay, Brad.
All right. Mount McKinney, what we called him last year when we covered so many of their games, one of the most massive human beings you'll ever meet. And as Swanee said, still unsigned, the #1 draft choice of the Vikings, arguing over bonus money and the slotting process of those top 10 players. Here comes a blitz on Dorsey. Heavy pressure. This one's tipped again and incomplete. Stanford Samuels got a hand on that one. Intended for Sands, but number 10, Samuels, is the guy that got a hand on it en route.
All of a sudden, the Seminoles defensively are making plays, knocking balls away. Right there, get a hand on it, where earlier in the ball game it wasn't. Strange, we're in the Orange Bowl, but the Seminole war chant is the loudest thing you hear.
And getting louder by the minute. Capshaw to kick. Hangs up the punt. Washington will take it. The freshman takes off going the other way. All the way out to the 40-yard line. 22-yard return for Leon Washington. Got a penalty marker back near the line of scrimmage, and now Leon is down.
We got holding on the return, 10 yards from the end of the run. First down.
So it's still first down, and they have a look at Leon Washington, the freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida. So we'll check on Leon after we take a timeout with 11 minutes, 8 seconds remaining at the Orange Bowl. Florida State leading Miami by 13. Been a tough day for the Heisman Trophy candidate Kenny Dorsey, and it's out of his hands right now again. Florida State's got it back on offense. First down at the 30. Florida State would be happy just to run and run and run some more now. Maddox. And he's met at the line of scrimmage, and I mean met.
Yeah, and Miami knows it because they've got 10 guys near the line of scrimmage.
So no gain on the play, but the clock becomes the Seminole ally. Under 11 minutes to go.
Well, the Hurricanes have stopped themselves offensively, dropped balls and penalties when you did make a good play, and defensively you've helped the Hurricanes with some penalties. The last drive, a huge penalty on the play that Ricks got knocked out and came back later on.
Second down and 10. Comes a blitz from the corner. Squeezing through for about 3 yards as Maddox. Joseph made the tackle, and John Saunders is in New York.
Brad, in the Big Ten, Wisconsin in control against Indiana, but the Hoosiers fighting back. Jabron Hamden to Aaron Halterman. Touchdown, covers 4 yards. Indiana pulls within 5 with plenty of time left. Brad.
Here, time is winding down, under 10 minutes probably after the next snap. Third down and 7. Miami's got to have a stop here. Deceiving total yardage. Ricks, nice play fake. Chris comes up throwing. Intercepted. Sean Taylor.
He got over there and got it.
He had a long way to go.
He did.
I thought it was going to be the corner that was going to have a play on.
Tried to get double tight ends. They had 10 guys near the line of scrimmage defensively. And Taylor just gets over and makes a play.
You know what? They're going to say he was out of bounds.
Yeah.
So it's a fourth down.
It was hard to see. Let's take a look. Yeah.
And so the punt will give it back to Miami, much in the same territory as that interception would have at the 25-yard line. So now the Canes, with 9:32 remaining, have got to score, and they've got to score rather quickly because they need 2. Florida State has been in a situation before when they were 5-1 and worked their way back into the battle for the national championship. We talked to Bobby Bowden this week, and we said it at the top of the show. It's pretty simple. You beat the top-ranked team in the country, regardless of your loss a couple of weeks ago, you are back in the hunt. And he knows it.
Oh, he knows it. He knows it.
And Miami knows that they have got to pull off a miracle here at home in the next 9.5 minutes, or their long winning streak goes by the boards as Florida State's did last year in this matchup. Cross the middle. Johnson on the run. First time he's had a chance to stretch his legs. Johnson all the way down to the 33-yard line.
There's no doubt that Miami is capable. They just have to do it. They'd have to stop themselves. They have to catch the ball. They've got to throw it. It's just a short pass, a crossing route. Dorsey gets hit after he throws it, but Johnson, Andre Johnson, the top receiver. Lynn was talking about him earlier in the ball game. He's one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the nation. Get him the ball.
Only took him 7 seconds to go 37 yards. Dorsey again. Look out from behind. Hit as he throws. And a wobbly duck is incomplete, luckily, for Dorsey.
Yeah.
Jackson got him again as he let go of the ball.
He doesn't have the amount of time to throw that he had last year.
Right.
He has good time, but he was waiting on that extra time, and the guy just came right from behind and got him.
And that was almost picked off by Florida State.
Well, I tell you, offensively, the coaching staff says, boy, that ball's up there fluttering around. You got all these defensive backs back there, and nobody gets it. They're lucky.
Second down and 10. McGahee, draw play, ran into Dorsey, but now he's running into the secondary, and he's going to have a first down, I think. We check in quickly with John.
Well, in the ACC, North Carolina and NC State. NC State looking to move to 7-0. Josh Brown carries this one 12 yards for the touchdown. If NC State remains unbeaten, boy, what a matchup later on this year against the Florida State Seminoles. Remember, they got them last year. Brad, back to you.
That might only be the once beaten Seminoles. Right now, they're in front of the defending champs. And Kenny Dorsey has not spent this much time on the turf since I don't know when.
He's getting hit every time.
This time he is smiling a little bit, talking with Michael Boulware.
Yeah.
We said, Kenny, what do you say during some of those exchanges? He says, I usually just say, you know what, you're not as big a jerk as the rest of the guys on your team. He didn't say jerk, but it was something like that. Penalty marker down. And here's the call.
On the offense, not enough men on the line. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Look at Dockett. You think he's not tired and wet?
No kidding.
I mean, he is sweat through and through. It is hot and muggy. You know, fatigue plays a huge factor.
Well, you know,
in this game.
You add relative humidity into the almost 90-degree temperatures, and our tongues are wagging up here a little bit. Second down and 10. Dorsey steps up in the pocket, fires, caught, Johnson, first and goal.
They had two guys there. He and Sands were both in the neighborhood.
Pick up at 19. First and goal at the 4-yard line. Miami lines up in a hurry. Florida State doesn't have their defense out there yet.
Well, forget the telescreening. They had two receivers down there right in the same area.
Shotgun, handoff, draw play. No. McGahee brought down by. Oops, and there's a little shove at the end of the play. There's no flag. Kellen Winslow let Kendall Pope have it.
And Pope takes off his helmet. And he's right. And, you know, that I've seen that call before.
Second and goal at the 3. Dorsey. Over the middle. Touchdown. Kevin Beard. The Canes aren't done yet. Kevin Beard, who dropped a pass earlier this half that we showed you, hangs on to a dandy here.
Great protection. A duck goes flying and is caught by Beard. They don't care how it gets there, just so it gets there.
There's a duck in his beard.
Yeah. An Aflac duck.
Whack. Seaver's in for the point after. And it's good. We got a lot of football left now, folks. 8 minutes, 10 seconds. Defending champions trailing 12th ranked Florida State. The 46th meeting between these rivals, and it's a beauty.
They were looking for the touchdown. They were looking for Winslow. But Beard is out here, and he comes along the back of the end zone again. See Winslow? They're looking for Winslow right here. But the ball goes back to the back of the end zone. Good read and good throw by Dorsey.
Following that touchdown and during the timeout, the Orange Bowl got serious. The war chant started at one end. The U of M chant started on the other. Nobody has taken a seat since. And now it's down to 8:10 left. Number 1 trailing number 12.
And it looked like Kenny Dorsey got a second wind on the sideline.
The kick is deep and gone. Florida State will work from the 20. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Pontiac, fuel for the soul. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you, nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. Bowflex for real fitness results. And America's Dairy Farmers. The power of cheese. The power of the Hurricanes and the Seminoles on display. This place is literally shaking. Can the Canes defense come up with a play? And can Florida State ice it away? First down, Seminoles. Rick's broken play. He's going to keep it around the end. And he takes another wicked hit, this one from Sean Taylor.
Well, what they want to do is run the football. They don't want to throw it. Ricks has only thrown it for 60 yards today. He's 6 of 14. And that time he was strictly a running back.
An Orange Bowl record crowd of almost 82,000. And they are making their presence known on every snap now. And it doesn't matter which team they're cheering for. They're hot, they're loud, and they're rowdy. And they've got the game they hope to see. Jones straight up the middle. Greg Jones breaks free. First down, and he's still on his feet out to the 45-yard line. 18 more yards for the Big Hoss. 193 on the day.
From behind the defense, Miami, that offensive line of Florida State's getting blocked. Vilma gets blocked. Sykes can't bring him down. Taylor's holding on. Help, he says. What a great effort by Jones.
193. Career high at the 45. First and 10, Florida State. We're under 7.5 minutes. Draw play. Maddox, nothing. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Time permitting. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. John and Terry, who've been here all day, will be through the rest of the day with you. And look ahead to the big doubleheaders we've got, including number 2 and number 3 as Texas and Oklahoma get together. Think it's not hot? Jeff Bowden's on his second or third shirt. He started the day in a garnet shirt. Now he's got a white one on. And that one's just about ready to be wrung out.
Yep. Yep. Well, Miami defensively knows that they're going to run the football. So Miami's got to commit enough guys up there to stop the run.
And they use all the clock they can use and then call a timeout with 6:41 remaining. So Florida State, they'll run their trainers out. So will Miami. Everybody gets a quick drink, including Chris on the sideline talking to his offensive coordinator. Tom Gardner's the guy he threw the touchdown pass to today, as he's done so many times in the last couple of years. They don't want to put this ball in the air if they can help it. There have been close games in this series that has run over a half century. They favored Miami in the games decided by 5 or less in the last 19 years. All Hurricanes.
You know, there have been some close ones, but really the predominant number of these matches have been not that close.
Well, last year it was 49-27 up in Tallahassee as Miami ended Florida State's decade-long 37-game win and 54-game unbeaten home streak.
Then Larry was talking yesterday. What was it, 49-0 or something? Up there.
Butch Davis is
up at Tallahassee a few years back.
That's when Butch ran across the field to shake hands with Bobby Bowden and said, you know, I think in a year or two we'll be able to give you a better game. And it's just gotten better and better. And now they're both giving each other a game.
Bob and Brad, these are the kind of games that you make reputations on. You make and add a little history to the game. We've talked about the Florida State offensive line in the past. We've talked about Miami defensive line, how good they played throughout the games in the past. But moments like this make reputations.
6 guys in the box for Miami.
2nd and 10.
You're going to run it every time against that.
Jones stuffed for a loss.
Sometimes the defense wins, but other times the offensive line wins. That time the defense beat them.
Cornelius Green from the defensive line and DJ Williams, who's had a whale of a game from his linebacker position. It's one of those days where you find yourself crawling off the field. That's Pat Hughes, the tight end.
Yeah.
3rd down and what they didn't want to get in.
Well, this could very well be a quarterback draw. Miami goes to a three-man line first time today.
Miami needs a stop. Ricks waits, in trouble. Broke one tackle. Now running for his life, throws it incomplete. He was outside of the pocket. There is not a grounding call, but it will be time to punt. And before we punt, let's head to New York.
Brad, Wisconsin started the season 5-0, lost last week to Penn State, and today in danger against Indiana. Jabron Hampton, 20 yards to Glenn Johnson. They go for 2. Two-point conversion is good. Indiana leads by a field goal with about 2 minutes left, Brad.
Time to punt for Florida State. Miami gets what they needed, the ball back. Parrish takes it at the 15. Cuts back across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. 5 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in the ball game. Kenny Dorsey coming back out. Second half hasn't been good to him. His receivers up until that catch by Beard in the back of the end zone have not been very good to him. But 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, approaching 300 yards again. And keep in mind, as Bob said when we started things off, 31-1 as a starter. 10-1. Kenny Dorsey against ranked teams. He's been there before. He's not as sharp as we've seen him many times, but he's got what he needs. The football soon to be in his hands, 79 yards away from a win. That's as simple as it gets. First down. Swings it out to McGahee on a screen pass. McGahee across the 30. Down the sideline. He might go. McGahee, one man to beat. They get him, but not before he gets to the 12-yard line.
It's just a simple screen. I'm sure the defensive coaches were hollering, watch the screen, watch the screen, and here it is. McFadden gets blocked, a broken tackle. He outruns one, but he's not going to outrun the last one. Huge play for Miami.
And Romberg, of all people, was one of the guys that got one of the last blocks, Bob, way downfield. 68 yards, the longest play allowed by Florida State this year. First down at the 11-yard line. Geathers inside handoff. Geathers, touchdown, Miami! They're not ready to give up the crown yet.
You just saw the heart of a champion.
Two plays and 79 yards in a hurry. Severs for an all-important point. Got it. The number 1 Canes lead. Oh my goodness.
Little draw, a screen, and a draw. And a touchdown to go ahead.
And Bob and Brad, you guys talked about it. Dorsey's off, but what he does is utilize his assets around him. The short pass on the screen, the offensive line opening up big hole. Let your team do the work. No one man can handle it all by themselves.
You remember yesterday when we were talking with Dorsey and we asked him, do you remember the last loss? And he says, I remember it like it was yesterday.
And then I said, do you remember the drive when you were just a youngster to come back against Florida State and throw the touchdown pass to Shockey? And he said, that seems like 20 years ago.
And he also said, I don't want to leave Miami as a quarterback who was behind center, who lost to Florida State his last year.
That's exactly right, Swanee.
Well, that's the stuff that championship players are made of.
Our Pontiac scoring drive, 79 yards in 19 seconds. Now it's up to number 16 on the other side. Wow, what a quarter. 5 left. Miami leads by 1. Leon Washington, the freshman, drops it in the end zone. He'll have to take a knee.
What a great job Severs has done kicking off today.
Yes, he has. 4th touchback that they haven't been able to return. Let's check in with John Saunders while we catch our breath. John.
There's no catching breath this afternoon, guys. Texas and Oklahoma, number 2 and number 3 await after number 1 Miami and Florida State. Of course, some of you will see Joe Paterno look to get another win after the great win against Wisconsin last week. He'll face Michigan. Some will be in the Pac-10 to watch Oregon and UCLA. It's all coming up when we're done in Florida. Gentlemen.
We can only hope you folks in the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the Pac-10 can be treated as we've been in Miami. 28-27, number 1 Miami leads. Ricks, the fade again. This one's over the head of Robert Morgan. He cut inside Kelly Jennings. The pass went outside.
This kind of makes up for all those blowouts we've been doing, huh?
Florida State coming in with 1 loss, that to Louisville in overtime. Miami coming in 27 straight wins, just 2 shy of their school record, coming off a national championship season, and they've shown us in the last 5 minutes they're not ready to give up the crown jewels yet. Chris Ricks has missed his last 5 passes. He's going to need one pretty soon. They'll keep it on the ground here, though, and Jones is smothered. William Joseph just lifted him up like Joan Rivers' face. Long yardage situation coming up.
I don't know about that, but Joseph is the brother of the other guy on the offensive side. Look at this. Oh, yes. He said, you ain't getting away this time. You may have nearly 200 yards rushing on us, but you aren't getting away.
A huge 3rd down and 11. Ricks down the middle. In and out and then caught, and now it's a loose ball. Fumble. Miami's got it.
They call it incomplete.
Looked like a catch, they say no. PK Sam bobbled it, looked like he caught it, then got whacked.
Oh, a huge hit.
And the Miami coaches are off the sideline saying, are you kidding me? Let's take another look.
It's a great throw by Ricks. Tremendous throw.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. I don't know. It looked like he had possession against his body.
I'd agree with you, partner. Looked like he took a step before he took a shot. It was Williams who covered it, but they say no. Either way, Miami's getting it back because Waltney's got a punt. Florida State was in total control about 5 minutes ago in this football game. Diving catch near midfield by Ethnic Sands. Don't forget, coming up next, our doubleheader and a beauty coming up from Dallas. It's Texas and Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. Penn State plays Michigan, Oregon, and UCLA. Those are our games coming up. This is real speed of that last throw.
Yeah, I think if I were the official, I would do the same thing. The ball came out as soon as the guy hit him. And who's to say? I mean, we're not really sure we got the replays going.
Yep, that's right. 4 minutes left. Now it's Florida State's defense that needs a play. Seems like just moments ago we were saying Miami's defense needs a play or their offense will never see it again. Now their offense has the lead. And it's McGahee off the left side, and with refreshment in his body with the lead now, he knocks it off the left for about 3 yards. Just a little bit of offense, huh?
Well, you would expect that in a Florida State-Miami game.
2nd down and a long 6 coming up. They are unbeaten. And we thank you for welcoming us. McGahee, both hands around the football. He's been very cautious when he hits it up inside today. And he got to the 45 where it's going to be 3rd down and 5. Don't forget Monday night, Alan John will be along the birth of a new rivalry. It'll be the Seahawks taking out the 49ers. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Don't forget to cast your vote for Monday Night Football's greatest game, too, at ESPN.com. Keyword MNF500 or NFL.com. Pretty good game on Sunday night, too, on ESPN, and I wonder where my partner's allegiance will be in that one. Miami and Denver.
I'm going with my son this time.
I figured you might go family.
I'm going with family this time. That's the only time I would go against the Dolphins.
3rd down and 5. Geathers can't find any room to run. As right now, the Hurricanes don't want to do anything wrong either, and it's fourth down.
They say we're going to leave it up to our defense. As good as our offense is, as good as Dorsey and our receivers are, we're going to leave it up to our defense. They tried 3 running plays, and now they're going to punt it.
Rob Chudzinski, the offensive coordinator, right there in the middle of the screen. Randy Shannon way down on the far end as a defensive coordinator, both in the Miami booth. And they'll let this clock wind down before they even bother going out there with the punting team.
They may even take it all. And
they might take a penalty.
Say, hey, back us up 5 if you want.
Meanwhile, Bobby Bowden talking upstairs. He knows he's going to have about 2 minutes to play with and a long way to go. And Florida State has only 1 timeout left.
Well, Florida State doesn't get hurt in the rankings in the polls either way on this game. If they win, they're definitely going to go up. If they lose, they still may go up.
Capshaw to kick. Leon Washington got to hold on to this one.
Miami's had a punt block this year, and they've had a bad snap.
The snap's clean. Off the side of Capshaw's foot. Terrible. They don't gain more than 10 yards on this deal. They might not get that much.
Capshaw is a 4th-year senior. He's been doing this for 4 years. He's a 4-year starter. That may be the worst punt of his career.
4 yards? What was the punt? 3 yards. Wow, and he knows it. In fact, he's been the top punter in the Big East the last 2 years, and sometimes something like that happens when you don't need it to happen. And now Florida State only needs a field goal.
Only needs a field goal.
Remember what Bob Greasy said earlier about Batea may not know the history of this series. I think most of you watching probably do. From the 46, Maddox inside handoff. Nick gets out to the 49-yard line. Our aerial views courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. With us, Goodyear's Blimp Stars and Stripes, continuing a 77-year tradition as the aerial ambassador and icon of the 102-year-old company.
So just when it looked like Miami was in control, a poor punt gives Florida State the ball at midfield.
From the shotgun, Chris Ricks going to take off with it. He finds himself a crease, and now he slides down to about the 48-yard line.
Florida State only has to move this ball down to about the 30-yard line or the 25-yard line. 25-yard line would be a 42-yard field goal.
Beatty has made from 42 and 45 today. His career long is 50.
And he is going in. He would be going into a little bit of a win.
Remember what Bob said earlier. Maybe he doesn't know the history of the series. We do. Jerry Thomas, 34-yard field goal attempt in 91. Bobby Bowden even thought that maybe this one was good as he ran off the sideline, but it wasn't. And his team lost. Go to wide right 2. Matt Munyon, or Dan Mowry rather, 39-yard field goal attempt, no good. Then in 2000, 49-yarder, wide right again for Matt Munyon. Now, Xavier Betia maybe doesn't know all that. You want to bet he doesn't know all that? You don't go to Florida State and not know the history of football. There's what he's done today. He's got the net up, and he's starting to work it with 1:23 remaining in the ball game. His career long was against Virginia Tech in the Gator Bowl. His regular season long this year is 46 yards. Still, there's a 3rd down that Florida State's got to get through first to give him a shot. Ricks needs this pass. Across the middle. Got it to Tolman Gardner at the 41-yard line.
Good pitch and catch. That's big time stuff. Rick stays in the pocket, moves around a little bit, and a strong arm gets it out there.
They move the sticks. The clock will start with 1:16.
Florida State is out of timeouts.
Remember, they used one real early in this half. Then they used one at about the 6.5-minute mark just to give their defense a blow. Then they used one recently, and so they're out. First down at the 41. Blitz coming from the corner. Ricks in trouble. The blitz got to him, but he threw it anyway, and Gardner comes down with it. Tolman Gardner.
Unbelievable. He should have been sacked, and he completes it. They're in field goal range from 42 yards.
Under a minute. If you want to hire a Gardner, I'd get number 21. At the 25-yard line, it's a first down. Already in field goal range. And right now, they might just play this to get in the middle of the field. Although Ricks is in the gun.
I think they start running it now. Maybe a quarterback draw.
Get it between the hash marks. Cutting outside. Vilma's got Maddox wrapped up, though, at the line of scrimmage. And now 25, 24. Clock winding down.
You can't stop the clock.
Miami stops it. Miami stops it. They take a timeout.
Yeah, that's good. That's good thinking.
So everybody gets a breather at the 25-yard line. And that includes my partner and I. We know Swanee's been through 2 or 3 shirts as we look back to the last time Miami lost at home. Penn State was the opponent. And you remember this pass. And off to the races on that long ball, 27-23. But since that time, it's been 27 straight victories. And Bob, the whole thing's in jeopardy right now. They talked about we want a second ring. Kenny Dorsey told us, you know what, I don't even know where mine is. Because we want to win a second one. It's very much in jeopardy right now.
Well, the whole thing in this series is going to come down again to a field goal.
We've seen what happened before.
Whether he's going to make it or whether he's going to miss it, it's going to come down to a field goal. And this whole drive was set up by a poor punt.
Florida State, by the way, has a bye week next week before playing Notre Dame in Tallahassee. And if they win this game, how big will that one be? Second down. Hand off to Jones. Try to cover the ball and get more to the middle of the field. He didn't get anything.
Yeah, Miami took time out to conserve some time in case they made the field goal.
Now they got to hustle. They've got to get the spike. Miami's not getting up off the bottom of the pile. Ricks is trying to get to the line. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He spikes it with 1 second left in the game. They just barely got the play off, and here comes the field goal unit.
That was way too lackadaisical.
Miami wasn't helping the cause. Obviously, they were in no hurry to get up. So now it's all on the right foot of number 47. Xavier Beitia from Tampa. He's on the Groza list. These are the kind of kicks that win you the Groza Trophy. This for the win for Florida State to upset Miami from 43 yards away. For the win, the kick on the way. He missed it. Wide left. Wide right so many times. And when it came down to dethroning a champion, it was wide left. Sadly, no one should have lost this game.
It looked like the snap was a little bit low. Take a look. Yeah, he had a little trouble, but that's all right.
And then the field covered with Miami fans as we head down to Lynn Swan.
Well, Brad, Bob, unbelievable. Coach Larry Coker, you got a little bit of history in this matchup yourself now.
Well, no doubt about it. I thought 2 years ago was one of the greatest games I've ever been around. I don't know if anything will ever surpass this. A great effort by Florida State. Great coaching job of their coaches, and we didn't play as well as we needed to, but I guarantee our kids fought hard, they played hard, found a way to win in the end.
Last year, your team dodged a couple of bullets against Boston College and Virginia Tech. This might be another one of those bullets.
Well, this was more of a missile. They're an awfully talented team. They gave us their best shot. We knew that. They played a great football game. They've got great talent, and it's just a great win for us.
Your quarterback was a little bit off today throwing the football, but on that last drive, he just put 2 plays together, made it all happen.
Well, really stepped it up, and I thought we needed to make some plays. We didn't. We had some foolish penalties that really kept their drives alive. And give them credit, they did a terrific job running the football.
Tremendous football game, Coach.
Great
Congratulations.
Thanks, Lynn.
Brad?
The moral of the story, don't ever invite Florida State to be your homecoming date, because they might go home with somebody else. But they didn't. Miami survives it 28-27. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Stay tuned for more great college football, Texas and Oklahoma. Some of you'll see Penn State and Michigan or UCLA and Oregon. For Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew, Brad Nessler from the Orange Bowl, what a ball game. See you next week.